together. Giraffe is the tallest animal in the world. Now, this is for the big boys and girls, and it's about music. Do you do music in your school? Very good. Now, the question is, which singing voice is the highest pitch? The highest pitch. We have soprano, tenor, or baritone. Which one has the highest pitch? Who have not answered my question today? Kende, so it was Taiwo otherwise. So now Kende, yes?
Soprano.
Soprano! She says soprano. That's correct. Please put your hands together for her. Yes. Yes. So soprano goes all right, that's a very good one. And then the last question for today's trivia game segment on Kiddies Word with Lola is about geography and all of that. So let's hear it. A scientist who studies rock is called what? A scientist, hey, really? What class are you in? SS3. Oh, yeah, you should know the answer to this. Come on, blow the answer. A scientist who studies rock is called what?
Geologist.
Absolutely, you're getting set for your examination. Please put your hands together for him. Wow, you guys are so brilliant. You are so brilliant. And I couldn't have asked for a better audience today. Please, one more time, put your hands together for yourself. Put your hands together for yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I must say that, yeah, truly you deserve to be promoted to the next class. I am so impressed. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Kiddies Word with Lola. We really do appreciate you. Thank you for the time. Thank you for staying tuned. And thank you for also participating, because I know many of you have answered that question even in your different houses and where you're watching us. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Kiddies Word with Lola. I do hope that you have been inspired today. I hope you have been entertained, and I hope you've had lots of fun. Why not? A million thanks to my wonderful audience for being so active, intelligent today. Put your hands together for yourself. I tell you, you guys are stars. Thank you so much. I also appreciate everyone watching from every part of the world today. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again next week for another exciting episode of Kiddies Word with Lola. Same time and same station. Western Spring Television, channel 190 on DTT. And don't also forget to watch us on our YouTube channel, Western Spring Television. Until next time, children, don't forget to keep being safe and keep being amazing. Lola loves you. Bye, everyone.
Àbújá ni olú ìlú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Ọjọ́ 12 oṣù 12 ọdún 1991 ni wọ́n gbé ibùjókòó agbára Nàìjíríà kúrò nílùú Èkó lọ sílùú Àbújá lásìkò ìṣèjọba ológun ọ̀gágun fẹ̀yìntì Ibrahim Babangida. Ìlú Àbújá ni ìlú kẹjọ tí èrò pọ̀ sí jùlọ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Ó sì jẹ́ ìlú olódi tó wà ní àárín gbùngbùn. Gbogbo àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ àti àjọ ìjọba kọ̀ọ̀kan ló ní olú ọ́fíìsì wọn nílùú Àbújá. Gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ pé ibẹ̀ gan ni ibùjókòó agbára ìṣàkóso ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Lọ́dún 2003 ni àjọ Commonwealth gbé ìpàdé wọn wá síbẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni àjọ olókoòwò nílẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ ṣe lọ́dún 2014. Kódà lọ́dún 2016 àjọ tó ń rí sí ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọmọdé ìyẹn UNESCO gbà á gẹ́gẹ́ bí ibùdó ìkẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wọn. Díẹ̀ lára àwọn ibùdó tó gbajúgbajà nílùú Àbújá ni àpáta agbára Aso Rock, ilé aṣòfin àpapọ̀, ilé aṣojúṣòfin ilẹ̀ yìí, àpáta Zuma Rock, Millennium Park, báńkì àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà CBN, mọ́ṣáláṣí àpapọ̀ àti ibùdó ilé ìjọsìn àpapọ̀ àwọn Kìrìsìtẹ́nì. Ẹkùn ìdìbò 6 ló wà nílùú Àbújá: Abaji, Buhari, Gwagwalada, Kuje, Kwali àti Abuja Municipal. kílìṣì tó jẹ́ ohun ìpanu tí wọ́n fi ẹran pèsè ló jẹ́ oúnjẹ tó wọ́pọ̀ tí gbogbo èèyàn sì nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí nílùú Àbújá. Ó jẹ́ ibùdó ìsinmi fún ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn arìnrìn-àjò láti ẹkùn kọ̀ọ̀kan nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà nítorí pé àárín gbùngbùn ló wà. Ìlú Àbújá rèé o, ibùdó agbára ìṣàkóso ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà, ògo ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Èkó Lagos, Èkó akéte ìlú ọgbọ́n, Èkó akéte ìlú ìmọ̀, ọmọ ọlọ́gbọ́n dorí ẹja mú, àwọn òmùgọ̀ àdìímú nírù, ẹni dẹ́kọ̀ tí ò gbọ́n ọgbọ́n rẹ̀ dọ̀run alákejì. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí àrọ́bá, ẹni tó tẹ ìṣẹ́ridó tó sì kọ́kọ́ gbé ibẹ̀ lọ́dún 1699 ló jẹ́ ọdẹ tí orúkọ rẹ̀ ń jẹ́ Ògúnfúnminíre, ọmọ ọba ìlú Ilé Ifẹ̀ ní í ṣe. Ó máa ń ṣọdẹ lọ síbẹ̀ láti Ifẹ̀, ó sì pàgọ́ tó ti máa ń sinmi ṣáájú kó tún tó lọ bẹ ilé rẹ̀ wò. Nígbà tó yá, àwọn ọdẹ mìíràn wá darapọ̀ mọ́ láti ṣọdẹ. Nínú igbó yìí ni wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣọdẹ tí wọ́n sì ń pọ̀ sí i pẹ̀lú àwọn ènìyàn wọn. Báyìí ni wọ́n ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní tàn kálẹ̀ tó fi dé gbogbo ibi tí Èkó fẹ̀ dé lónìí. Ìlú Èkó, ìlú ńlá. Ìlú Èkó yìí ni ibùdó agbára ìṣàkóso ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà wà tẹ́lẹ̀ rí, pàápàá lásìkò ìjọba amúnisìn ṣáájú ọdún 1991 tí wọ́n gbé lọ sílùú Àbújá. Èkó àdèlé ọmọ agun àgẹ̀rẹ̀, Èkó ọmọ afíjúwọjà arìngbẹ́ndẹ́kẹ́, ọ̀bùnwọjà páṣíọ̀ṣíọ̀, ẹ̀yọ̀ ní bàbá Èkó, àríjó ṣe bí ọba. Èkó ọmọ odò tí ò ṣeé yájú sí, Èkó arómi sá lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́.
Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ló ń kojú àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn ará àwùjọ tí ohun ò dẹ̀ dókè. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìnira, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìyà làwọn èèyàn ń kojú rẹ̀ ní àdúgbò. Ojú ọ̀nà tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó, iná ọba tó mẹ́ẹ̀ tó ń ṣe ségesège, àwọn tó ń hu ìwà àbàṣejẹ́ obì tí ń sun lẹ́rùn, àti àwọn nǹkan tí ò tí ì dé tí gbọ́ ìjọba. Ṣé wọ́n ní etí ọba nílé etí ọba lóko, èèyàn náà ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Òun náà ló jẹ́ kí ìkànnì Western Spring Television pé ètò tí ó jẹ́ kẹ́yìn ara lé ẹ̀yin ará àwùjọ kẹ́lẹ́ mọ́ sọ bí tí bàtà bá ti ń ta yín lẹ́sẹ̀ fún àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ ṣe ni wípé ẹ mú fóònù yín, ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yín, ẹ dàbù rẹ̀, ẹ mọ̀ yá ní gbọ́rọ̀, ẹ dàbù rẹ̀, ẹ ṣe àkàálẹ̀ ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó ìjọba, ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó àwọn aláṣẹ, ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó àwọn elétò ìlera, àwọn elétò ààbò àti àwọn míì tí ọ̀rọ̀ kàn. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí fọ́nrán náà, ìyẹn fídíò tẹ́ máa ṣe àkálẹ̀ rẹ̀ kó mọ̀ ju ìṣẹ́jú 2 tàbí 3 lọ. Ẹ má fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa ní orí WhatsApp lórí ẹ̀rọ 0803 865 1049 0803 865 1049. Ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn fọ́nrán yín, àwọn àwòrán yín kó máa wọlé. Orí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí, ẹ̀yin gangan lẹ jẹ́ ojú ẹlẹ́rìí. Ohun táwọn èèyàn nílò, ohun tó ń jẹ àwọn èèyàn láwùjọ níyà, ilé tí ò nílé ìgbọ̀nsẹ̀, ibi tí ò níbi tó ti ń dẹ ẹ̀gbin nù, tó wá jẹ́ pé ẹ̀gbin wọn ní àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn aráàlú lára, gbogbo ẹ̀ ẹ fi tó àwọn aláṣẹ létí. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ nílò ní agbègbè yín, ẹ jẹ́ kí àwọn aláṣẹ mọ̀. Orúkọ mi ni Adéyẹmí Ọlábọ̀dé, èmi ni atọ́kùn ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí lórí Western Spring Television, ìkànnì àwa gbogbo ọjọ́ Ajé láago 2:00 ọ̀sán.
Ìlú Ìbàdàn. Ìlú Ìbàdàn ni olú ìlú àti ìlú tí ó tóbi jù ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tó wà ní ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn gúúsù ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Kò dín ní èèyàn bíi mílíọ̀nù 6 tó ń gbé nígboro ìlú Ìbàdàn nìkan ṣoṣo. Odù Ifá ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì ni àwọn Yorùbá gbàgbọ́ pé ó tẹ ìlú Ìbàdàn dó. Àwọn ọmọ ìlú Ìbàdàn jẹ́ akíkanjú, wọ́n fẹ́ràn ìdàgbàsókè, ọ̀làjú ni wọ́n, àwọn baba ńlá wọn sì jẹ́ jagunjagun. Àbájọ tí a fi máa ń gbọ́ nínú oríkì wọn pé Ìbàdàn Mèsì Ọ̀gọ̀, nílé Olúyọ̀lé, ìlú Ògúnmọ́lá olódògbò kẹ̀rí lójú ogun, Ìbàdàn ọmọ àjòròsàn, ọmọ àjẹ̀gbínyó, ọmọ àfikàrà ń fọ́ orí mu. Olúbàdàn lórúkọ oyè ọba ilẹ̀ Ìbàdàn Máyẹ̀ Okùnadé ló kọ́kọ́ jẹ baálẹ̀ nìbàdàn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlú ńlá. Ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn iléeṣẹ́ àti àjọ ńláńlá ló wà nílùú Ìbàdàn. Ìbàdàn tó gbonílé tó gbé àlejò. Ọmọ Ìbàdàn kí ni sóò.
Bẹ́gùn ò bá jáde mọ̀rìnwó la kọ́kọ́ rí gẹ́gẹ́ síwájú ẹ̀ka tí òun ẹ̀bí rò wá. Túndé náà nù ẹ̀ka bò tó wà ń bẹ̀ Unlimited. Pẹ̀lú mi ọmọ yín olólùfẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ Sùlíyà àtẹ̀tùmọ̀ mo rẹ́ ní kejì. Ẹ lè fi tó bẹ̀rù pé ìyá gbogbo orúkọ ti bá pè mí. Sí ìtì mi jẹ́ ẹ̀ka balẹ̀. Ẹ gbádùn ètò ó wà ń bẹ̀ Unlimited lórí ìkànnì Western Spring Television ní ìkànnì 190. Ibẹ̀ ni ó wà ń bẹ̀ Unlimited ń bọ̀ wá. Ẹ fàkùrẹ̀ tẹ̀dí kẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn ètò àríyá wa.
Wọ́n sọ fún yín pé ẹ máa wo ó wà ń bẹ̀ Unlimited lórí Western Spring Television.
New York nílùú ńlá tó tóbi jù nílẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà. Kódà iye ènìyàn tó wà níbẹ̀ ló fi ìdá méjì ju ti ìlú Los Angeles lọ. Ó jẹ́ ibùdó fún oríṣiríṣi àṣà, ìgbafẹ́, iṣẹ́ ọnà, ìmọ̀ ẹ̀rọ, òṣèlú, ẹ̀kọ́, ọrọ̀ ajé kódà tó fi máa rẹ́ ìdárayá. New York yìí ló gbàlejò ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ olùdókòwò kárí ayé tó sì fẹsẹ̀ múlẹ̀ gidi gan ni. Ìdí nìyí tí àwọn kan fi máa ń pè é ní olú ìlú orílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé. Ohun ìdámọ̀ tó gbajúgbajà jù ní New York ní ère òmìnira Statue of Liberty, eléyìí tó ń ṣàfihàn bí ìlú náà ṣe fàyè gba onílé àtàlejò. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni afárá Brooklyn kò lẹ́gbẹ́. Ó kéré tán ẹgbẹ̀rin ní oríṣi èdè tí wọ́n ń sọ ní New York. Èyí ló sì fa bí wọ́n ṣe máa ń sọ pé gbogbo èdè àgbáyé ló pé sílùú New York. Ní nǹkan ọdún 1624 ni àwọn èèyàn ẹ̀yà Dutch tẹ̀dó sí ibi tó ń jẹ́ New York báyìí. Amsterdam ni wọ́n ń pè é tẹ́lẹ̀ nígbà náà, àmọ́ lọ́dún 1664 ni wọ́n yí padà sí New York lẹ́yìn tí ọba King Charles kejì tilẹ̀ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì fún arákùnrin rẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀ ìyẹn Duke of York. Láti ọdún 1785 ló ti wá di olú ìlú ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà títí di òní olónìí. Ó jẹ́ ìlú ńlá tó kún fún ọ̀pọ̀ iṣẹ́ ọnà àti ibùdó iṣẹ́ àtinúdá oríṣiríṣi fún gbogbo ìran ọmọnìyàn. Ìlú New York lórílẹ̀-èdè Amẹ́ríkà.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Ìjà kí ẹ̀yẹ̀yàn wa nínú ilé níbikíbi tí ẹ ti ní àǹfààní láti ti bá wa pàdé lórí móhùnmáwòrán Western Spring Television. Ìkànnì àádọ́wàá lórí agbada StarTime náà ni. Ẹ kú ilé gbogbo ẹ̀yin ènìyàn wa níbikíbi tí ẹ ti láǹfààní láti ti máa wò wá. Akíwá ẹ kú iṣẹ́ látàárọ̀ lágbára Elédùmarè iṣẹ́ gbogbo wa kò ní í dìṣẹ́ o. Ìyá ìwé mo ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ mo dé. Alákọ̀ọ́ṣe dáadáa lábá yín. Mo ní ẹni abálòde ijó tó ń rùdí. Ṣàlàáfíà nílé wà tí kúrò lọ́rùn ẹni yẹn bí ilé ò bá sí lálàáfíà kò ní wá sóde ijó. Èmi àtàwọn ọmọ mi adé lónìí o. Nítorí wípé iṣẹ́ tí àwa ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí, ìgbádùn tiyín, ìgbádùn tiwa, òun ló tún jà wá lógún. Torí pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń gbádùn wa, làwa náà ń gbádùn bá a ṣe ń mú wa. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló sì jẹ́ iṣẹ́ fún àwa láti jẹ́ ìgbádùn fún ẹ̀yin. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi, ẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín ni. Ǹjẹ́ lórúkọ ọ̀gá wa nílé iṣẹ́ wa ń bí ọ̀mọ̀wé Fẹ́mi Adéfìlá náà ni à ń kí wa. Lórúkọ ayàwòrán wa alàgbà Òkìkíọlá àti alàgbà Lukman náà ni a fi ń kí ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa lónìí pé ẹ kú àmójúbà èmi àti àwọn èwe mi ní ìkànnì yìí. Lábẹ́ ọdán la pètò, ètò ní lábẹ́ ọdán. Àní kan ò sí, ó yẹ tó wà nǹkan fìdílé tàbí kẹ́ ẹ fìdílé nǹkan nítorí pé ètò tó ń gbé àṣà àti ìṣe ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lárugẹ ni. Ẹ kú ilé o, ẹ sì kú àmójúbà wa lórí ètò. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi o. Ọ̀dẹ̀ òdùn bí? Ọ̀dẹ̀ dùn.
bá mi yín àti mọ́ mi yín ń kọ́. Ojú gbogbo yín ti ẹ̀gúnrégé, inú mi sì dùn láti mọ́ rí yín. Lágbára Ọlọ́run mi nífẹ̀ẹ́ nìkẹ́ nínú yín ṣe ni àwátì. Bó ni ẹ̀kọ́ yín ṣèwé ń lọ déédéé? Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Àwọn olùkọ́ yín náà ń kọ́? Wọ́n wà. Lágbára Ọlọ́run ayọ̀ àti àlàáfíà ni gbogbo wa ó máa wà. Àmín àṣẹ. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìṣe wa ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa nínú ilé, ẹ̀yin náà mọ̀ wípé ohun tá a gbé dání òun náà ni èdè Yorùbá. Báwo ni a ṣe fẹ́ jẹ́ kí èdè yìí kó kú tá a sì fẹ́ ó parun? Ìyẹn ló jẹ wá lógún o níléeṣẹ́ Western Spring Television láti lè mọ jẹ́ kí àwọn èwe wa ó mọ̀ wípé èdè Yorùbá dùn, èdè Yorùbá ó dùn ún gbọ́, èdè Yorùbá ó ní ẹwà, èdè Yorùbá ó ní àṣà, èdè Yorùbá ó ní ìṣe. Tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ lára àwọn ẹwà èdè Yorùbá, òun náà ní ká ka òǹkà wa lédè àbínibí wa yàtọ̀ sí èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì. Láyé ijọ́ ohun àná, ábídí olówe ni wọ́n fi kọ́ wa. A ajá, bí bàtà, dídòjé, èèjò, ẹyẹ àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ làwọn tí wọ́n kọ́ wa. Ṣùgbọ́n láyé òde òní, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lójú ńlá, èmi máa ń sọ àṣà kan mà ní ojú rà ní ojú ọ̀la. Nítorí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan tí Yorùbá ti sọnù, òun la ṣe ń padà pé káríye. Yorùbá ò wá yẹ kó kú, kò sì yẹ kó parun. Torí wípé bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dé àwọn ìlú míì tí wọ́n ń sọ èdè tó yàtọ̀ sí èdè Yorùbá, wọ́n gbédè wọn lárugẹ. Kí ló wá ṣe àwa ọmọ Yorùbá àtàtà táwa kọ èdè wa sílẹ̀, táwa ń gbé èdè àtọ̀húnrìn wá, tá à ń gbé e lárugẹ? Kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Bàbá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹnà láyé ijọ́un. Ẹnà ara àṣà wa ni, ara tí à ń ṣe nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. Kí wọ́n pe ẹ̀sà, kí wọ́n kéwì, kí wọ́n sùn jálá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá bí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ tí ń bẹ lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ yín nù létí ń wò wá èwo lọ́mọ́. Àmọ́ kí n tó wọnú iṣẹ́ lọ, káwọn ọmọ mi tó mú tán mú wá fún wa lójú móhùnmáwòrán lénìí kan tó sọ ọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ n yára dé òdì kejì lọ́hùn-ún. Tí n bá wá padà dé, ètò ògbéra sọ ní ràbájì gan àti ní rẹ́gẹ́dẹ́. A kí ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ padà sórí ètò Lábẹ́ Ọ̀dán. Ìkànnì àádọ́wà lórí StarTime náà níléeṣẹ́ Western Spring Television wà. Ẹ̀yin síbẹ̀ bẹ́yìn ti mọ̀ yìí, ẹ tún wí fẹ́ lòmíì wípé ètò kan ń bẹ o tó ń gbé àṣà àti ìṣe ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lárugẹ tó sì wúlò fún àwọn èwe. Abẹ́mọ̀ yìí pé bí àwọn ọmọ wa bá délé ìwé, iṣẹ́ Yorùbá tí wọ́n ń kọ́ wọn yìí, ètò yóò tún ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ láwọn àyè kọ̀ọ̀kan tí wọ́n bá ti ń láǹfààní láti máa wò wá. Ojú tẹ́ fi ń wò wá yẹn ò ní fọ́. Àmín àṣẹ. Bẹ́ẹ̀ létí tẹ́ fi ń gbọ́ wá yẹn, etí yẹn ò ní di. Àmín àṣẹ. Ẹyọ ọmọ mi dé, ta ló ní tó mú wá? Ìyáwó mi. Ó yá Àṣàbí.
Ẹ bá mi parí òwe yìí.
Á pa á.
Ẹni tí ó bá ga.
Ẹni tí ó bá ga, ó yá.
Ìyáwó mi.
Ó yá, àdúrà gbé mi.
Ẹsẹ̀ rẹ̀ á tínrín.
Ẹsẹ̀ rẹ̀ á tínrín, ó yẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. Ta ló tún ní tó mú wá?
Ìyáwó mi.
Ó yá dé. Pa á.
Ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ dúdú ya bùsán.
Ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ṣètò ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ dúdú ọ̀bùsán.
Ìyáwó mi.
Ó yá oyin kan.
Ọmọ burúkú ò yálù pa.
Ọmọ burúkú ò yálù pa, ó yẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. Ta ló tún ní tó mú wá?
Ìyáwó mi.
Ó yá gbé mi.
Gbogbo àgbàlódé délẹ̀.
Ó mú yẹ ó mú.
Ẹ bá parí òwe yìí.
Á pa á. Gbogbo
Gbogbo
aláàbàdúndélẹ̀ ọdún òmè yìí tí inú ń run, ó yẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. Ta ló ní nǹkan mi tó mú wá? Ó yá dé. Á pa á.
Ìyáwó mi. Ìyáwó mi.
Ó yá ìrìbù akórèdé. Tàgbàlagbà ò wá kèrègbè, ó yẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi o, ẹ jẹ́ wá bi yín ní ìbéèrè kan. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ odù tó dá ìwà, gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá, mo ti máa ń wí tipẹ́ mo sì ti máa ń kọ yín tó ọjọ́ mẹ́ta mo wá fẹ́ wò ó bóyá ó ṣeé ṣe kí ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi kẹ́ ẹ rántí mo sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìdílé kan tí mo pè ní ìdílé àwọn àyàn àwọn onílù mo sọ nípa àwọn ìdílé àyàn fún yín pé tí wọ́n bímọ nínú ilé àyàn àwọn nǹkan kan wà tí wọ́n máa ń ṣe ta ló lè ràn mí létí. ọ̀yá pé olúwa. ọ̀yá pàtẹ́wọ́ fún un. owó ìdílé àyàn gan-an ti lù yàtọ̀ sí òkò. ní tó bá jẹ́ àyàn ni wọ́n jẹ́ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ bá orúkọ wọn àyàn Dèjì àyàn Túnjí àyàn mi bẹ́ẹ̀ àyàn Lọ́lá àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ pé yóò di àyàn ìwé ẹ̀ ti jáde tí wọ́n bá bímọ. wọ́n máa ń lọ ilé kejì sí ilé kẹta ní ọ̀rọ̀ omi tí ó fi ọmọ. nítorí pé bí ọmọ yìí bá dàgbà tán tó yanṣẹ́ ìlú lílù láàyò gẹ́gẹ́ bí àyàn nínú ìdílé wọn kò ní lè máa fi júńgbò bá rí èrò kò ní lè máa gbé ìlú pamọ́ sábẹ́ aṣọ kò ní sí wípé irú ọ̀rọ̀ yòówù tí wọ́n lè sọ sí tí ó máa dùn ún. ìdí tí wọ́n fi ń ṣe nínú ìdílé àyàn nìyẹn ọyẹ tó pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. ṣáàtúnlẹ̀ tó ní tó mú wá nù yín.
ìyàwó mi.
ọyá mo dúpẹ́ olúwa.
ẹ bá ń parí òwe yìí.
á pa á.
agbọ́mọjó.
gbọ́mọjó. ọyá bẹ́ẹ̀ni. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni agbọ́mọjó lọmọ máa ń mojú bí wọ́n bá bí ọmọ tó jẹ́ fẹ́ràn ọmọ kékeré wọ́n máa ń gbé ní gbogbo ìgbà tó ọmọ ń fún ní nǹkan tó ẹ bá ti rí tó yọ lọ́ọ̀kan yóò ti mọ̀ pé aláàrẹ ẹni tí mo èmi ni yóò sáré pàdé ilé ẹ̀fìn mọ̀ pé agbọ́mọjó lọmọ mojú tí ò bá ṣeré lánàá tó bá nawọ́ sí ọmọ yóò kàn mọ́ ṣe yóò mọ̀ ṣe báyìí àyàfi tó bá jẹ́ pé ó rí nǹkan nìyẹn kan jíjẹ dání lójì ó gbé wọn agbọ́mọjó lọmọ mojú ọyẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. ẹ gbé fún wa ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé sínú ètò tá a pè ní Lábẹ́ Ọdán ètò tó ń gbé àṣà àti ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ Yorùbá lárugẹ ẹ lè wá sí iléeṣẹ́ wa tó wà ní Àgùnbẹ́léwò ní Òṣogbo ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun tàbí ká ẹ pè mí ìyá ìwé sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ mi 0 ẹ̀jọ 0 ẹ̀tàǹtagbá ẹ̀rin wọ̀rọ̀kọ́ 2 àrùngbódó ẹ̀tàǹtagbá 2 ẹ̀sán pẹ̀lú 1 080 34 25 33 91. èmi ìyá ìwé gangan ni màá gbé tí màá sì jẹ yín lọ́gán bí ẹ bá ti pè ojú òní ti wà láṣẹ Elédùmarè káwá tó tẹ̀síwájú lórí ètò Lábẹ́ Ọdán ẹ jẹ́ ń dódì kejì lọ́hùn kí n wo tán ló wà ń bẹ̀ náà bàbá wa padà dé kí n wá mú àlọ́ tòní wá fún ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi. Erédé eré òṣùpá.
Àràmọ́dù òṣùpá.
A kí wa káàbọ̀ padà láti òdì kejì ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi o. ṣé ẹ ṣetán àti gbọ́ ìtàn tòní?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
bó bá jẹ́ pé ẹ ṣetán àti gbọ́ ìtàn tòní ẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fún ìyá ìwé. tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ àlọ́ o. àlọ́ o. àlọ́ mi dá fùrù gbàgbó.
Kó má gbàgbọ́.
ní ìgbọ́n gbogbo.
Àmì àṣẹ.
ó dá lérí pa tí ẹ mọ̀. ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ ẹranko tí wọ́n ń pè ní ẹmọ́?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
báwo lẹmọ́ ṣe rí Tẹ́níọlá?
ó dàbí eku pọ̀ kì í ṣe eku.
níbo ló ti mú Gẹ̀ẹ́sì wá? ó dàbí kíni ṣùgbọ́n kì í ṣe èmi ò gbọ́ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì tó ló ní bọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ mú wọ̀hún èmi ò gbọ́ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ni ẹ mọ́ bínú ṣé ẹ ti gbọ́ èdè tiwantiwa pọ́nbélé lèmi gbọ́ yóò dáa fún yín. ṣé ẹ rí ìjàpá pẹ̀lú ẹmọ́ wọ́n jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ kòríkòsùn nílùú ìlú tí à ń sọ yìí nígbà náà. ṣé ẹ wá rí ẹyẹ kan wà tí wọ́n ń pè ní ẹyẹ ògòǹgò? ẹyẹ ògòǹgò yìí ọ̀rẹ́ náà ni wọ́n jọ jẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀rẹ́ wọn kò súnmọ́ra tó bí ẹmọ́ àti ìjàpá. ẹ jẹ́ ń pé Ògòǹgò jẹ́ bíi alájọgbé àdúgbò tí wọ́n jọ múlé tira wọn lògòǹgò jẹ́. Ní ìgbà tó yá ẹ mọ́ ṣàbíamọ Ọlọ́run fi ọmọ 3 jíǹkí ẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n Ìjàpá òun bí ọmọ kan ṣoṣo. Ọmọ kan ṣoṣo nìjàpá ní, ẹ mọ́ bí ọmọ mélòó?
3.
Ọmọ 3. Nígbà tó di àsìkò kan ìyẹn dé nínú ìlú àti jẹ́ ó diṣẹ́ fún wọn nínú ìlú. Ẹ mọ́ wá jókòó ńjọ́ kan ló wá rò wípé kí ni tóun ó ṣe o pẹ̀lú bí ìrìn àjò ṣe rí nínú ìlú yìí. Bóyá kóun ó rìn sókè kóun wá iṣẹ́ ajé lọ. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi, nígbà tí ẹ mọ́ fẹ́ rìnrìn àjò ẹ mọ́ wò wípé ṣé òun ó wà kó ọmọ 3 lẹ́yìn, ìlú tóun lọ òun ò tí ì mọ̀, ibi tóun ó dé sí òun ò tí ì mọ̀. Ẹ mọ́ gbé ìgbésẹ̀ kan.
Yàrá rí ìgbésẹ̀ wo ló gbé?
Ẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi. Ẹ mọ́ bá pe Ìjàpá ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ̀, ó bá sọ fún un pé ìwọ ọ̀rẹ́ mi mo mọ̀ fẹ́ rìn ìrìn àjò kan, ṣùgbọ́n ìlú tí n ó tẹ̀dó sí n ò tí ì mọ̀, n ò sì fẹ́ kó àwọn ọmọ ìdánilọ, àmọ́ tí n bá délùú ọ̀hún tára bá ti tù mí èmi náà padà wálé màá wá kó àwọn ọmọ mi. Èmi ti yín tòótọ́ ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi. Ẹ mọ́ bá sọ fún Ìjàpá ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ̀ wípé òun fẹ́ kí Ìjàpá bóun kó àwọn ọmọ òun sọ́dọ̀. Tóun bá débi tóun lọ iṣẹ́ tóun bá kọ́kọ́ rí ṣe ní tó bá yọ ọ́lẹ̀ tí bá ń gbọ̀n lẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ òun ò mọ̀ fi ránṣẹ́ sí Ìjàpá ọ̀rẹ́ òun. Ìjàpá bá gbà láti bá ẹ mọ́ kó ọmọ sọ́dọ̀. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi, ẹ mọ́ mú oko ìrìn àjò pọ́n. Ó dé ìlú kìíní, ìlú yẹn ò rọgbọ, ó tún tẹ̀ sọ́wọ́ iwájú, ó wá dé ìlú míì. Ọlọ́run ọba mi jẹ́ kí ibẹ̀ ó rọgbọ fún un, ló bá tẹ̀dó síbẹ̀. Ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ní í ṣe. Iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ń ṣe yìí tó bá ti rí tọ́rọ́, tó bá ti rí kọ́bọ̀, tó bá ti rí èrò tí ń relé, á fi ránṣẹ́ sí Ìjàpá pé torí bí ṣe ń bò ń tọ́jú àwọn ọmọ òun. Ṣùgbọ́n Ìjàpá tó kọ́ ọmọ sí lọ́dọ̀, inú Ìjàpá ò dùn látàrí wípé òun bímọ 3, òun bí ẹyọ kan ní tòun. Ọwọ́ akọ́bùkátà ọmọ ilé ńláyà tó bá yá tóun ó ṣe inú òun ló wà. Ìjàpá yóò mú ọmọ ẹmọ́ yóò mú lọ sóko, wọn ó jọ lọ ṣiṣẹ́ oko, wọn ó jọ padà wálé. Ìkọ́dẹ̀ ń bẹ nínú wọn tí wọ́n bí gbẹ̀yìn, ìyẹn jẹ́ ọmọ kékeré jòjòló láàrin àwọn ọmọ ẹmọ́, wọ́n máa ń fìyẹn lé ni. Eléyìí tó dàgbà jù nínú wọn nìjàpá máa ń rán níṣẹ́ lọ rán níṣẹ́ bọ̀. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi o, nígbà tó di ní ọjọ́ kan ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ abàmì kan ṣẹlẹ̀.
Yàrá rí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ wo ló ṣẹlẹ̀?
Ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi ẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. Mo ń bọ̀ o, ó dàbí ẹni pé ẹran tá a gbé ka orí àrò ó fẹ́ máa rùn. Ẹ jẹ́ n bọ́ sẹ́yìn ìkùlé kí n lọ sọ kalẹ̀, mo wá ń padà bọ̀ wá bá yín. Dídé tí n bá dé màá mú ẹnu ìtàn náà, màá mú rìnrìn àjò, màá sì fi sọlẹ̀ síbi tó yẹ kí n fi sọ nírọ̀lẹ́ tòní. Erédé yóò ṣùpá. Padà ẹ̀yin aráalé, mo rò pé ẹ̀ ń gbádùn wa ní ìkànnì Western Spring Television, ìyẹn ìkànnì àdọ́wà lórí Star Time ní gbogbo ọjọ́bọ̀ láago 5:30 báyìí. Ẹ má gbàgbé pé ní ọjọ́ Jímọ̀ ọjọ́ Ẹtì òun náà ni a máa ń wà lórí ẹ̀rọ rédíò nílé iṣẹ́ wa ń bí, ìyẹn Rave FM 91.7 lẹ́yìn tí bá wa pàdé ní ọ̀la tí í ṣe ọjọ́ Jímọ̀ láṣẹ ti Elédùmarè ní aago 9:00 alẹ́. À ń gbìyànjú kárí ti ọwọ́ orí rédíò náà sùn wá sọ́wọ́ òkè, bọ́lọ̀ bá ti jẹ́ kó ṣeé ṣe fún wa àmọ́ jí ẹ gbọ́, ojú òní tì yín. Ẹgbẹ́ polówó yín wá sí iléeṣẹ́ wa ń bí kẹ́ ẹ fara ṣajé bíi ti ṣẹ́ṣẹ́ fún ọlọ́run ọba mi yóò nífẹ̀ẹ́ gbogbo wa o ìfẹ́ tiwa àti tiyín náà ọlọ́run ò ní pa náà fẹ́.
àmín àṣẹ.
ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi ìjàpá bá rán ọmọ ẹ mọ́ níṣẹ́ ó rán lọ inú oko ó ní kó lọ ṣiṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ tó gbélé ọmọ ẹ mọ́ lọ́wọ́ iṣẹ́ alátàárọ̀ dálẹ́ ni ọmọ yìí kọjá sínú oko lóòótọ́ ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ó dàárín kan ó rẹ̀ ẹ́ kò rẹ́ni tó lè pè nígbà tó yá ìjàpá dé bá níbẹ̀ ká mọ̀ fọ̀rọ̀ gùn lọ́wọ́ ná ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi ìjàpá mọ̀ ṣekú pa ọmọ ẹ mọ́ ó ṣekú pa látàrí wípé ó ní òun lè mọ gbọ́ bùkátà ọmọ mẹ́ta ṣùgbọ́n bí wọ́n bá mú kan kúrò lọ́nà yóò rọrùn fóun láti tọ́ àwọn tó kù ńlẹ̀ ó sì gbẹ́lẹ̀ kótókótó ó bò mọ́ ìjàpá darí wálé eléyìí tó jẹ́ àbítẹ̀lé ó lè tó ti gbọ́n díẹ̀ ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi nígbà délé ó béèrè lọ́wọ́ ìjàpá wípé ẹgbẹ́ òun tí wọ́n jọ roko dà ìjàpá ní ń bọ̀ yóò dé bá àwọn títí tí wọ́n fi sùn lálẹ́ ọjọ́ náà nígbà ní ọjọ́ kejì mọ́ ó tún lọ bá ìjàpá pé ẹgbẹ́ òun ń kọ́ ìjàpá wá rí wípé eléyìí tóun ń wò yìí yóò ṣe àkóbá fóun kí lòun lè ṣe lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tiẹ̀ náà o kí lòun lè ṣe lórí ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ o ìjàpá bá tún mò náà ó tún pa á ó tún lọ wá wò kótókótó ó tún lọ rì mọ́ níbi tí ó sin ẹ̀gbọ́n sí ó gbàbúrò rẹ̀ bẹ̀ ó lọ sin òun náà kabẹ̀ ọwọ́ akú mélòó nínú ọmọ ẹ mọ́ ọwọ́ akú ródóródó inú wọn tí ò tí ì gbọ́n ìjàpá wá mú eléyìí ródóródó àtọmọ tiẹ̀ ó ní wọ́n jọ mọ́ ṣeré papọ̀ ìyẹn wá gbà wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ ẹ mọ́ gbàgbé o ìlú ibi tí ẹ mọ́ wà ó ń fi nǹkan ránṣẹ́ sí ìjàpá o torí kò tí ì mọ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sóhun aṣọ ni oúnjẹ ni gbogbo ẹ̀ ni ló ń kó ránṣẹ́ ẹ mọ́ sì lu ọdún 10 gbáko lájò kó lè bá rí nǹkan mú wálé ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi nígbà òpin ọdún 10 tẹ́mọ́ ti wà ní àjò ẹ̀mọ́ bá darí wálé nígbà tó dé ó kó nǹkan bọ̀ wá fún Jàpá rẹpẹtẹ pé ọ̀rẹ́ òun tó bò ń mójú táwọn ọmọ láti bí ọdún 10 ṣe mọ̀ pé lè tó jẹ́ rógódó nú àwọn ọmọ òun náà ti dàgbà kò tiẹ̀ dá ìyá wọn mọ̀ Ìjàpá ní sọ fún pé ìyá yín ló dé yìí inú rẹ̀ dùn ó yọ̀ mọ́ wọn ẹ mọ́ wá bi Ìjàpá léèrè dákun àwọn méjì tó kù ńkọ́ Ìjàpá ní òun rán wọn ṣẹ́ ni ó ní wọ́n fẹ́ẹ̀ tó dé wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ ọjọ́ ń lọ ilẹ̀ ń ṣú ẹ mọ́ tún lọ bá Jàpá ọ̀rẹ́ mi níbo làwọn ọmọ yìí ń bo lọ rán wọn ó níbi tó ń rán wọn ó ní oko wájú ni ó dàárọ̀ ọjọ́ kejì wò ó tó dé ibẹ̀ lára ti ń fu ẹ mọ́ pé oko bíi ti bó oko ọjọ́ kejì oko alálọ̀sùn bíi ti báwo ọ̀dà Ọlọ́run fojúmọ́ rè mọ́ wa ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi nígbà tí ilẹ̀ mọ́ ẹ mọ́ retí kò ráwọn ọmọ ó tún lọ bọ́ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ mi Ìjàpá ibo láwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ yóò dé ni Ìjàpá bá yí ọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ lọ́wọ́ lọ́ba ní tiẹ̀ dúró ná ọmọ mélòó ló kó fóun lẹ́mọ́ bá ní ṣe bí 3 ni wọ́n ó lóun kọ́ ọmọ 3 fóun o ọmọ ẹyọ kan tó fún náà lọ́mọ tó ọba ń lé lẹ́mọ́ bá ní ẹ̀ wá gbà òun lẹ́mọ́ bá ké bòsì pé ẹ gbà òun ọmọ 3 lòun kó ti ọ̀rẹ́ òun Ìjàpá ó ṣe lè kó ẹyọ kan Ìjàpá bá ní jẹ́ ń pe ọmọ eléyìí tó fi ọ̀dọ̀ òun wá ṣé ẹ sì mọ̀ pé ní ìgbà tí àwọn ọmọ yẹn jẹ́ 3 eléyìí kéré ìyẹn kéré láàrin wọn ní ẹ bá pè Láróńdó wá nígbà Láróńdó dé ní ẹ bá bi léèrè Ìjàpá bá ní ń gbọ́ ọmọ mélòó ni bàbá ìyá yín kó fún òun nìyẹn bá ní ọmọ mélòó bíi ti bó gbé ó nìkan ni lọ́ba ni ẹ mọ́ bá ní àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ̀ ńkọ́ ó lóun ò lẹ́gbọ́n o ó ní ọmọ Ìjàpá ni ẹ̀gbọ́n òun ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi wọ́n fa ọ̀rọ̀ ìtítí torí ìjọba àsìkò wọ́n kẹjọ́ relé ọba nígbà délé ọba kábíyèsí bí wọ́n léèrè Ìjàpá sàtakú ọlọ́mọ kan ni Láróńdó náà ní òun nìkan ni bàbá àwọn fún níyà àwọn fún Ìjàpá ní kábíyèsí bá ní ẹ mọ́ ta lẹ́lẹ́rìí ìjọ tó kọ́ ọmọ fún Jàpá lọ́ba ní ògòǹgò wà ń bẹ̀ o kán bò ń ránṣẹ́ pé ògòǹgò wọ́n bá pe ògòǹgò dé bógòǹgò ṣe dé kábíyèsí bá bi ògòǹgò léèrè pé dákun ìwọ ló lè bá wa tàn mọ́lẹ̀ sí ọ̀rọ̀ àárín ìjàpá àti ẹmọ́ ọmọ mélòó ní ìjàpá kó fún ẹmọ́ lògòǹgò bá mú orin bẹnu ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi o ẹ pé bó ló ti kọ́ ẹ̀yin ọmọ ní múkú lọ́ba ní mùkúlùmùkẹ́ múkú mùkúlùmùkẹ́ múkú mùkúlùmùkẹ́ múkú ní kábíyèsí bá ní ògòǹgò orin kan mo ní ọkọ ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ ni mo ní ọdá sí lọ́ba ní kábíyèsí ọmọ mẹ́ta ni ẹ mọ́ kó fún ìjàpá tóun sì fojú òun rí ní kábíyèsí bá ní ọ̀yá ìjàpá já ògòǹgò ìjàpá bá ń wò sú ní ọba mọ́ tó lè wí mọ́ ní kábíyèsí bá ní tọ́ ìdájọ́ ọ̀hún rèé ẹ mú ìjàpá lọ ẹ lọ yẹjú ẹ̀ ká tó wá mú ìjàpá lọ táwọn aráàlú péjú pésẹ̀ iwájú ọba akọ̀pẹ kan wà ńbẹ̀ tó mọ̀ ọ́n dẹ́mu òun náà tún jẹ́rìí ó tún gbé ògòǹgò lẹ́yìn ó ní ọjọ́ tí ìjàpá ó kọ́kọ́ pa alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ó lórí ẹyí ọ̀pẹ lòún wà tóun dẹ́mu ó lóun ṣàmọ̀ pé ń gbẹ́ hò ṣùgbọ́n òun ọ̀mọ tí ń rí ìmọ́lẹ̀ ọba bá ní tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ lọ nú oko ìjàpá wọ́n bá dààmú àwọn olóyè àti gbogbo ìlú wọn wá nú oko títí tí wọn ò rí bí wọ́n ṣe fẹ́ mọ darí bọ̀ lẹ́nìkan bá ń wo nǹkan kan lọ́ọ̀kan tó ga bí ebè ní ọmọ ní ẹ jẹ́ àtúnkì ní tó ga bí ebè yìí nígbà àwọn òtù wọ́n bá àwọn eegun ọmọ ẹmọ́ tó ti wà nínú ó ti jẹrà ó ti dé eegun wọ́n ṣàkè eegun yẹn wá ààfin ó tún jẹ́ ẹlẹ́rìí kejì mọ́ ògòǹgò ìyẹn ló wá mú kábíyèsí sọ pé kí wọ́n lọ yẹgi fún ìjàpá bí wọ́n ṣe pa ìjàpá rèé o àbọ̀ mi rèé o ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi àbọ̀ mi rèé o mo ti jíṣẹ́ ẹran mi àbọ̀ mi mà rèé o ìtàlẹ̀ yìí kí ló wà.
Ìyàwó mi.
ọ̀yá ẹ̀já bẹ̀rẹ̀ látọ̀dọ̀ àṣàbí.
Ó kọ́ wa pé ká má mọ̀ parọ́. Ìyàwó mi.
ọ̀yá tèmi lolúwa.
Ó kọ́ wa pé ká mọ̀ pààyàn. Ìyàwó mi.
ọ̀yá dénìkẹ́.
Ó kọ́ wa pé ká mọ̀ ṣèkà. Ìyàwó mi.
ọ̀yá mo dúpẹ́ olúwa.
Ó kọ́ wa pé ká má mọ̀ dalẹ̀ ọ̀rẹ́.
tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ yín èèyàn wa bí ẹ bá tún gbádùn wa lórí ètò yìí ìyẹn lábẹ́ ọ̀dán lórí móhùnmáwòrán Western Spring Television ìkànnì àdọ́wà lórí StarTime ẹjá tún ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ká tó darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lóhun kó o tẹ́ fẹ́ bí èmi ìyá èwe ẹ̀yin ẹ pè sójú òpó òdo ẹ̀jọ òdo ẹ̀tàǹtagbá ẹ̀rin wọ̀rọ̀kọ́ èjì àrùngbòdo ẹ̀tàǹtagbá méjì ẹ̀sán pẹ̀lú ọ̀kan 08034253391 èyí náà láwọn fi máa ṣe lọ fún tòní a ò ní lọ ìlú ẹja tó lọ tí òde nùbú bẹ́ẹ̀ ni a ní lọ ìlọ kọ̀ǹkọ̀ tó lọ tí òde sálẹ̀ odò ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ òní láàmú wá o ẹ̀yin láàmú bá o láṣẹ tí Elédùmarè la ṣe ń dágbére pé.
ẹ má pa òdà gbére mọ́ta fi lọ. ẹ má pa òdà gbére mọ́ta fi lọ.
òṣùpá ò dágbére fúnra wọrí ẹ má pa ò dágbére mọ́ ta fi lọ ó dàbọ̀.
àpáta Zuma Rock, Millennium Park, báńkì àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà CBN, mọ́ṣáláṣí àpapọ̀ àti ibùdó ilé ìjọsìn àpapọ̀ àwọn Kìrìsìtẹ́nì. Ẹkùn ìdìbò 6 ló wà nílùú Àbújá: Abaji, Buhari, Gwagwalada, Kuje, Kwali àti Abuja Municipal. Kílìṣì tó jẹ́ ohun ìpanu tí wọ́n fi ẹran pèsè ló jẹ́ oúnjẹ tó wọ́pọ̀ tí gbogbo èèyàn sì nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí nílùú Àbújá. Ó jẹ́ ibùdó ìsinmi fún ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn arìnrìn-àjò láti ẹkùn kọ̀ọ̀kan nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà nítorí pé àárín gbùngbùn ló wà. Ìlú Àbújá rèé o, ibùdó agbára ìṣàkóso ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà, ògo ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Jẹ́ kí n máa láǹfààní láti tó fojú pẹ̀lú mi nírọ̀lẹ́ òní. Olúwafẹ́mi Àjúwò lórúkọ mi, balógun eré ìdárayá gbogbo kílẹ̀ lóko àwọn tájọ ṣe tájọ mú àkọ́tún ètò lórí ọ̀dọ̀ wa lónìí ọjọ́rú wá sojú mọ́ máwòrán yín mo kí yín kàbọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. Lónìí àfẹ́lù dáúlà ní eré bọ́ọ̀lù aláfẹsẹ̀gbá lẹ́sẹ̀ kúkú látàrí bá ṣe wo ìfẹsẹ̀wọnsẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe lọ láàrin ikọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù ti Crown Champions Ìkìrun àti ikọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù tìmìjà àtẹ̀dẹ́ nínú díje Amúlá Football Championship ẹlẹ́ẹ̀karùn-ún tẹ́ bá gbàgbé látìgbà tí GA ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girls got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Badamasi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker. The nickname Kwenkele was a natively corrupted version of peculiar mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at the age of 42. Western Spring Television identifies Adegoke Adelabu as a watershed character in history.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Our comedy is winning fans globally, but we are losing our wildlife to illegal bushmeat, and this is not funny at all. If we continue this way, we'll risk losing all our animals and leaving nothing behind for the generations to come. Tell your family and friends not to buy or sell illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects us all.
Hello guys, I'm here again with Dr. Mark Ofua, a wildlife conservationist and a veterinarian, to discuss the challenges of illegal bushmeat in Nigeria. Nice to be here again with you, Dr. Mark. So in our last chat, you explained how illegal bushmeat was negatively affecting the animals. Can you shed more light on that?
So there's one aspect of it which is eating bushmeat locally, local consumption. Then bushmeat also is being exported to countries like in Asia and all that. That is a problem. Because when you're exporting, you're not looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 animals.
You're exporting.
You're looking in hundreds, in thousands, in large numbers to make your profit. So that is already also a problem. And this is what is driving extinction. We're losing our animals at an unprecedented rate.
Are there specific animals that have been more affected than the others?
We have whole species that are disappearing. Our pangolins are endangered, our gorillas are endangered, our chimpanzees are endangered, and our gorillas and chimpanzees are very unique species. So if we lose them, it's lost to the world forever.
It saddens me because you see that there are countries that are raking in millions in dollars by just having these animals in their country. I know people that pay to go to Kenya. I know people that pay to go to Rwanda to go see wild animals. It's crazy. They are here in our country. We as a country, we have a lot of things that we're not even paying attention to.
It's a paradox. When you talk about bushmeat, stop illegal wildlife trade, people are quick to say poverty. But we do not know that it's this killing of the bushmeat that perpetuates poverty.
How so? Please explain.
You made a mention of people spending good money.
Yes,
to go to other countries to see these animals. Safari. An elephant in its lifetime can give you over $1 million from tourism. But if you kill the elephant and sell the tusk and eat the meat,
how much are you selling it for?
We are richer if we keep our wildlife and ensure our biodiversity.
Okay, so I understand everything that we've spoken about, but how does this impact an average person? For instance, I'm going to read some comments. You can't tell people the government is starving not to look for alternate means of survival. Another person here is saying, we're Africans, so don't bring Onyibo lifestyle here. If pangolin finish tomorrow, we will not die. We have real human issues like poverty, corruption, insecurity. I understand what we're talking about, but from their perspective now, why should they care?
We think we humans are existing and then the animals are existing on their own. We fail to see the interdependence, how much we need the forest for us to thrive, how much we need the animals. And the more these animals are disappearing, the harder things get for us. For example, let me give you some animals that help us directly, like the pangolins. One pangolin can eat up to 20,000 ants and termites in a day. You imagine what the entire population of pangolins would do. But by the time we eat up all the pangolins and kill them and sell them and wipe them out, so you find out that the ant population is going to explode. Then, but you say, fine, so we get pesticides and we can get rid of them. But the pesticides will kill the ants and termites and also kill some beneficial insects because it does not discriminate.
Which in turn affects food production, which in turn affects food price.
Price will go up. So you find out that things just get harder. And then another thing causing hardship for us today here in Nigeria is insecurity and terrorism. Do you know that proceeds made from wildlife crime, illegal wildlife trade, is used directly to finance terrorism?
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria and around the world. Because that's where they get the money without having to come into town. So you find out that as long as we're not getting the game right, these problems will continue. People often think we do this campaign to save animals because we love animals. But the real reason we're doing this campaign is humanity. We need to save ourselves.
It's to save the world.
What is the current challenge that we're facing? Climate change.
Yes.
Do you know the activities of elephants and gorillas? They help
save our forests.
And saving our forests means reducing carbon emission.
Exactly.
So you see that we save these animals, we save our forests, we're saving our lives.
Yeah, we are actually saving ourselves. I hope this answer gives you enough reason. Yes, we are hungry. Yes, we are. But the solution is not to make things worse.
Exactly.
I mean, that's it. That's it for another episode. Thank you so much, Dr. Mark. See you again next time.
Our comedy is winning fans globally, but we are losing our wildlife to illegal bushmeat, and this is not funny at all. If we continue this way, we'll risk losing all our animals and leaving nothing behind for the generations to come. Tell your family and friends not to buy or sell illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects us all.
Evelyn Ohiole,
Hi.
King Eve, how are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you, and you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine would be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and it feels so reserved. It really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe it's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just being unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if he doesn't have sex for a day, he's going to die.
When it comes to finance, women also support their husbands financially. You need me emotionally. You need me spiritually.
Cassie is an amazing person, but I hate the too much attachment to that gender. I need you spiritually, I need you mentally. I can get these things anywhere with money. If you go by the topic was, who does marriage favors the most? I know how many jobless women they marry every Saturday. They are saying it favors you, favor. Are they vague so?
Growing up, when I was in the world, we've heard of
Right, you know.
Well, MC Too Much said, he likes saying when I was in the world. And the last time I checked, well, it looks a bit innocent, facially, but deep down, he's actually out of this world. We're all in the world now. As long as you're alive, you're in the world. So, MC Too Much, I beg when you talk about that. I don't want to hear that. Next time you talk about I kiss my words.
I think I have a problem with you saying ladies are champion, and that's the problem. Always trying to attach too much importance to that gender.
It's giving insecurity, it's giving low self-esteem, it's giving a blatant display of egoism. Because at the end of the day, a man who is secured in his worth, a man who is confident of who he is, will not really be disturbed as to whether women are being referred to as champions or not. I mean, at the end of the day, Joseph's a really great guy, but whether he likes it or not, women are champions.
Ahmadu Bello, a Prince Royal, was born 6th of December 1910 at Raba Village, Sokoto, northwestern Nigeria. His father was a district head and heir apparent to the Sultanate throne from the house of Usmanu Danfodio, a religious and social reformer who brought the Habib dynasty under the Fulani Caliphate in the beginning of the 19th century. Ahmadu Bello raised the bar of political consciousness in participation when, in 1944, he engineered the establishment of the Northern People's Congress (NPC) as the first political party in northern Nigeria and the rallying point for politicians in the region before independence. History will not forget Ahmadu Bello for his charisma and political sagacity, which provided him to assume political and administrative positions in Nigeria's post-independence era. The distinguished elder statesman has his face on his country's 200 naira currency as a marker to one of the architects of Nigeria's independence. Western Spring Television identifies Ahmadu Bello as a watershed character in history.
Since assuming the mantle of leadership in Osun, the state of the Living Spring, Governor Ademola Adeleke has left no one in doubt about his avowed commitment to the overall development of the state. The footprints of his transformative agenda span through education, transportation, health, staff welfare, social infrastructure, among others. Living Spring Update, a weekly diary on Rave 91.7 FM and Western Spring Television, Channel 190 Star Times DTT, will extract Governor Adeleke's development agenda for your listening and viewing pleasure. From the bustling market to innovative agricultural initiatives, from the testimonies of civil servants and retirees to the cheers of artisans across the state of the Living Spring, you will discover how Governor Adeleke's administration is driving the economic growth of the state. Stay informed and engaged with Living Spring Update, where we will delve deep into the details of ongoing infrastructural projects, new initiatives in healthcare, education, and other impactful strides being made across the state. Tune in every Wednesday on Western Spring Television at 6 p.m. and every Saturday on Rave 91.7 FM at exactly 2:30 p.m. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at Western Spring Television and at Rave 917 FM as we tell the story of how Governor Adeleke is shaping Osun into the beacon of development and opportunity.
Living Spring Update is a production of the Office of the Spokesperson to the Governor, Governor's Office, Osogbo.
Our pangolins are in crisis. They need our help. Hundreds of pangolins are killed for their meat and scales every year. If we continue this way, we'll risk losing them forever. Tell your family and friends to say no to illegal bushmeat from pangolins, because protecting nature protects us all.
This is Neil, our 9th orphaned pangolin baby. Neil was born in captivity on the bushmeat table, and I was called. I dashed down there and rescued him. I was the one that removed his umbilical cord, and we've been feeding him on special formula. He's about 4 months old now. Neil, does that taste like food? How many people in the world have had their ear nuzzled by a pangolin? I feel lucky and I feel special. From when I was a very young child, I have always been interested in animals. So it wasn't very surprising that I became a veterinarian because I wanted to help animals. Also, I'm a wildlife conservationist. I rescue wildlife, rehabilitate, and release back to nature. And then in the process of growing up, I have come to realize that we have this very, very horrific attitude to the animals around us. Every animal is bushmeat. So instead of complaining about the situation, I wanted to try to cause a difference. And what better place to go to see these victims of the wildlife trade than the bushmeat market? The first time I visited the bushmeat market, nothing prepared me for what I saw. Table full of animals, different species that I didn't know we had in Nigeria, species that I had not seen alive. To see them dead on the table, it was a horrible experience, and I would always remember it till today. It breaks me every time seeing them like this and the horrible way they died. This guy is just beginning to start his life. He has a long way to go. In going to the bushmeat market, I realized that you see some live animals that can't be rescued. When I started, I did not discriminate. Any animal in need, I get. But along the line, in one of my visits, I came across a strange creature. From the description of it, I quickly checked online and, whoa, pangolins. You mean we have pangolins here in Nigeria? I didn't know. The day I saw my first pangolin, I knew I was sold. And then by the time I got to know their status as threatened with extinction, I knew that something would have to be done to ensure that these lovely creatures do not go extinct in my time. Once you see a pangolin and you look into the eyes of a pangolin, you are caught up in pangolins. So how do you look into these eyes and turn your back on him? A lot of people do not know about pangolins, but it is the most widely traded mammal. Because of the interest in the pangolin for their scales, you have hunters that go into the bush exclusively for pangolins, to look for pangolins. So right now on the bushmeat table, you get average of 7, 9 pangolins every day. And that's what you see on the table. They are traded openly despite their CITES 1 protection level. The law enforcement do not even know about it, and this thing continues unabated. Convincing the bushmeat sellers, the hunters, the traders to let go is not a very easy thing, because once they have this animal, all they think of is money. Sadly, once in a while, it comes to that, especially when I see an animal and I say, look, I am going with this animal, I do whatever it takes. Okay, so adult female, 1.784. Adult male, about a year old. 1 inch gash on the right side of the head. One thing I found about the pangolin is a paucity of information. Very little on the white-bellied pangolin that we have here in Nigeria. So it has had to be more like learning on the job, trial by error. It's been very, very traumatic. I have come to learn that they don't do very well in captivity. When you get them, you rehabilitate, rehydrate, but you want to release as soon as possible. Lufasi is a protected park, and they have graciously granted me space. So what I did was to fence a portion of nature with the trees, anthills, good feeding sites for pangolins. So what we do is, after rescue or rehabilitation in the hospital, we bring to the rehab center and then we release them there. And it's actually the first of its kind in West Africa. And we're very proud to be at the forefront of pangolin rescue and rehabilitation in West Africa. Now, Sharon, I want to ask you something. What is the pangolin covered with?
Pangolins are covered with scales.
Yes.
And the scales are like the fingernails in our hands.
Some people believe that when they eat the scales, it will heal them and get them well. Do you think it makes sense?
No.
If somebody is sick and they eat the fingernails, do you think they'll get well?
No.
Why? It doesn't make sense, right?
Yes.
The most exciting thing for me in my rescue work is the point of release. It is almost spiritual for me. You get this heightened sense of accomplishment. You have assisted nature. You have taken something that was supposed to die due to the destructive activities of man, and you have successfully released back into nature. I might not be able to save all the animals in the world, but for this animal that I have saved and released back to the wild, it's the world to the animal. There's a tradition, a culture in Nigeria that refers to pangolins as idiots. They are not idiots. If only people knew how wise these guys are. One of the challenges is ignorance. People have the wrong information, misinformation. And what I have come to do is education. If we don't take care of these guys and they go extinct, the ant population is going to explode. One very, very interesting part of my work is what I'll call the pangolin orphanage. Lots of these pangolins, the females, they give birth in captivity. And at this point, they are usually very stressed, very weak. They usually don't make it. But these babies that are born, they are practically useless to the bushmeat sellers. So I have come to an arrangement with them. Whenever they have a newborn, they call me. Their reproduction rate is very, very slow. You get one pangolin pup being born every 18 months. The rate of removal is way higher than the rate of replacement. We have a very short window to fight this decline of pangolins. If we do not conserve our natural resources, if we do not save these animals around us, it's humanity that will suffer. When you save these animals, you're actually saving humanity. If we kill off all these animals, it will just be you and I looking at our ugly faces. It's not palatable.
Since assuming the mantle of leadership in Osun, the state of the Living Spring, Governor Ademola Adeleke has left no one in doubt about his avowed commitment to the overall development of the state. The footprints of his transformative agenda span through education, transportation, health, staff welfare, social infrastructure, among others. Living Spring Update, a weekly diary on Rave 91.7 FM and Western Spring Television, Channel 190 Star Times DTT, will extract Governor Adeleke's development agenda for your listening and viewing pleasure. From the bustling markets to innovative agricultural initiatives, from the testimonies of civil servants and retirees to the cheers of artisans across the state of the Living Spring, you will discover how Governor Adeleke's administration is driving the economic growth of the state. Stay informed and engaged with Living Spring Update, where we will delve deep into the details of ongoing infrastructural projects, new initiatives in healthcare, education, and other impactful strides being made across the state. Tune in every Wednesday on Western Spring Television at 6 p.m. and every Saturday on Rave 91.7 FM at exactly 2:30 p.m. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at Western Spring Television and at Rave 917 FM as we tell the story of how Governor Adeleke is shaping Osun into the beacon of development and opportunity.
Living Spring Update is a production of the Office of the Spokesperson to the Governor, Governor's Office, Osogbo.
All right, you're welcome back. And as I said earlier, before that breather, it's about the economy and especially the downstream sector. There was this policy of Naira to crude, that we learned was directed by the federal government through the president, especially during that back and forth of the NMDPRA issues with the Dangote refinery, petroleum company, and the president had to intervene at that time to say henceforth, Naira for crude policy will begin, and we learned it has started October 1. By the way, what does this mean really? Well, Nigerians are quite skeptical because they were so excited with the advent of the Dangote refinery. Okay, maybe challenges, our wars are behind us. Talking about big Nigerians But it seems it is not the same. And some analysts have been saying maybe there is not really something much to cheer about. But now, because of the international, by the way, because of the international market and the exchange thing, because oil is an international commodity. But now that we have it in Naira and the policy, at least officially, we learned it has begun. What does this mean? Is it the time for Nigerians to cheer right now and say, finally, maybe the price of oil, talking about the PMS, especially PMS, popularly called petrol, can now reduce in Nigeria with, if a sigh of relief to say, finally, an indigenous company is helping us with some of our challenges. That on one side. Another one is the policy a few weeks ago that we learned NNPCL has positioned themselves to be the sole buyer of petrol from this same Dangote refinery and petrochemical company because of some, things best known to them. But yesterday, it was reported in many major headlines to say NNPCL are backing off. They are no more interested in being the sole buyer. What could have caused these? And many persons are saying, will this lead, to further increase in pump price? Because many Nigerians don't even know what to believe. But we have somebody that can give us an explanation on these issues. We are being joined right now by Dr. Paul Alaje, a very senior economist and, of course, senior partner at SBM Professionals. Thank you for joining us, Doctor. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you so very much for having me. A beautiful morning to you and your colleague.
Thank you very much. Quickly, the last time we spoke to you, you were very factual, as usual. And many Nigerians who saw the video, I saw some reaction to say it's like a balloon was popped, because the excitement and the aura was deflated at your analysis. And you said that was exactly the truth. But, that was, we have days after that particular interview. Here we are right now. Number one, let's take it one after the other. The crude for Naira policy will end October 1. It has started. What does this mean? That proverbial deflated balloon, will the balloon be up again? Will there be a chair at this time?
Well, the balloon should be up. Whether it will last up is what matters. Whether the thickness of the balloon is strong enough and whether gravity will be able to take it so high. Those are the things that matters. So when we say Naira for PMS, instead of using dollars to buy PMS, whether that will work or not, here is exactly what NNPCL and the government is saying. Instead of anybody buying PMS in Nigeria, on Nigerian soil, to buy it in the dollar, the person will now buy in the Naira. It has both positives and negatives. First, for Dangote, it is good news. Dangote will no need to put pressure on the Naira to be looking for dollar. And that itself may send signal to the parallel market, even official markets, and e-window, NAFEX window for the price of dollar to go up. So if Dangote is able to get PMS locally at Naira rates, then we expect that component sending signal to the FX market will reduce. So if government now sell to Dangote, but government will sell at whatever Brent crude rate is. So underline that factor, Brent crude rate. So what we are saying is that instead of allowing masquerade to dress as a masquerade in complete regalia to somewhere in Isale Osun or to somewhere in Olaya, so that everybody see that this is a masquerade. The masquerade may just cover his face, wear suit and tie, but we know that it's still masquerade. It's just that it's a modern masquerade. I will get to that. So underline the fact, and I said that whatever Brent crude, because Nigerian oil, one of the components, the name he has in the market is Bonny Light. So whatever Brent is, Nigeria take clue, we benchmark our Bonny Light against the Brent crude. So whatever it is, we need to now know what Bonny Light, which is Nigeria, that's Nigerian sweet oil, very low in sulfur content, will be. So if Dangote is paying Naira, the question is Naira of what?
Are you still with me? All right. Dr. Alaje, if you can hear me. All right. We'll try and reconnect. These are the questions as well. Naira of what? Exactly. Yeah, it appears that will be less pressure on the dollar thing, the forex, and all of those things around it. But then, what will it be? You know, for many Nigerians, for what is worth? Many Nigerians don't care about these jargons, about this thing that is going on, about the technicalities of the matter. What they want to do is just to drive in or walk in into a filling station, and instead of buying it 1,112, maybe they might end up buying it 500 naira. At least that is what Nigerians want. But then that will not happen without fixing and answering some of these jamming questions.
True, very true about that. I mean, Dr. Alaja just mentioned that Naira of what? You know, there were people that have mentioned that it's going to be Naira equivalent to the dollar. I mean, if dollar sells as at 1,650 now. I was going back to the to the year 2015. If dollar sells for 1,650 naira, then it will be the equivalent that Dangote will be buying. The only thing is there will be no much pressure on the dollar.
There's no need for source.
Exactly. And we have to know what impact that will have on society, and also if it will not be, if there will be any differences in price. I mean, the last consumer's price, how much should people expect? Is it going to be something so wide imagine that people would really celebrate, or it's going to be something small, something insignificant that people will say, oh, what's the difference between 6 and half a dozen, by the way? All right, Dr. Alaja, are you still with us? Dr. Alaja, are you still with us there? All right, we'll definitely try to reestablish connection with Dr. Paul Alaje, who is helping us have, you know, a deeper insight into what Nigeria's economy is all about. Like he said earlier on, people really did not want to know much about this economic jargon.
For an average civil servant, a trader.
Yes, will prices of goods reduce? Will prices of fuel reduce?
Yeah, that's all.
What is it? What is in it for me rather? I mean, that is what people just want to do. Will I have pocket in my money in my pocket to buy whatever it is I want to buy,
and money to get more things that I'm currently getting? These are the issues. How much will I be spending on transportation as compared to what I'm spending right now? Because like the last 6 months or thereabout, everything has doubled, by the way. But many persons will still say, yeah, doctor, can you hear us now? Dr. Alaje, can you hear us? All right, we're still working on it. But, you know, we'll take this quick break. And when we return the conversation, we continue. And it's about the crude oil sale in Nigeria. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. And the conversation has been about the downstream sector and the policies of the government, Naira for crude. And we have Dr. Alaje who's been analyzing the particular policy for us and what it means for the generality of the Nigerians. Doctor, you are going to land on your thoughts. Please go ahead. If you can hear me. All right, we'll try and reconnect with him again on this matter, you know, because this is one conversation that Nigerians are interested in. You know, whatever happens, whatever policy we are having that is being churned out by the government, in as much as about PMS, actually, then it has to do with the people. Whatever affects PMS affects everybody. Either you have a car or you don't, either you have a motorbike or you don't, in as much you're moving. In fact, even if you stay in your house, if you are eating, that policy affects you as well. Whatever affects the PMS, even if you're staying at home or you're working remotely, the one they say work at home, in as much you go out to buy one thing or the other, there's a way that affects you. And that's why we're having that conversation.
Of course, and aside the Naira for crude policy that kick-started on October 1, another one that we hear the report, of course, although the NNPCL is yet to confirm or debunk it, is that the NNPCL has quit middleman role with Dangote Refinery, which would actually give access to marketers to go to Dangote Refinery and buy fuel for themselves. And there have been speculations that this might bring a raise, in the price of fuel. That Nigerians may end up paying more for petrol if we have the NNPCL moving away from the middleman role and letting the marketers have access to Dangote fuel. I mean, these are speculations, and I say that Dr. Alaje would help us understand if this is possible and how true this is. These are some of the questions we should be asking Dr. Paul Alaje. Fuel or petrol, premium motor spirit, is one product that cut across everyone, whether it's the poor, whether it's the middle class, whether it's the high class or the rich, the wealthy. Everyone has it affects everyone in every way. So far, you move from one point A to point B.
Even if you are not moving, you are staying. It's
the food you eat. So it cuts across, and that is why a lot of people are interested in this petrol matter. Remember when Dangote started the production of diesel, it didn't really garner a lot of controversies and speculations and so much talk like this. That's because diesel is not a general product everyone uses. But when it comes to petrol, everyone is involved.
And it appears the removal of subsidy on the payment, removal of payment of subsidy on diesel has been long done. And I think it has been done, and everybody has accepted their fate on that. But there is this, there is this issue with the opaque nature of the people handling these PMS thing. That's the issue. There is something the Nigerians or the majority of Nigerians are not getting. Actually, that is the way it's been done, that you don't even know what to do or what to believe. Okay, we're moving away from subsidy payment because it's just like enriching the fee, some few people, and so let Nigerians get the benefits of whatever they are paying for, so that the nation will stop paying and enriching few people. The money saved from this cannot be used for the well-being of the people, but it appears that it's not working again. Because at a point, many stakeholders are saying, you guys are paying subsidy. The government has saying no. When NPCL came back and said, no, for the past 1 year or 9 months, we have not paid anybody any subsidy. In fact, what we have been doing is just attending to the shortfall, and say, oh, that's another coinage. Actually, when you say shortfall, okay, maybe it's another synonym, with subsidy. The thing is payment being done? Okay, who is doing the payment? Where are we getting the money from? In as much as you say you are stopping it, and there's no need for payment of subsidy again, that is why the price moved from 180, 200 naira to 600, 650. And of course, we have had disruptions in the supply of this particular product, because one of the promise is you just working or driving or riding into a filling station, pick up the product as much as you want, in as much you can pay, and go out of the filling station. But it appears that has not been the issue. We've had, especially since under this administration, we had not less than 4 disruptions that, as you know, have been costing people. And the moment the price goes up, it's never comes down. And these are some of the issues. And that was why Nigerians are talking about the matter to say, where are we? Now, when Dangote Refinery came up, well, like the problems are over, but it appears the problems are not over, because the man in charge, the chairman, Aliko Dangote, was singing like a bird, a canary. He even spoke. He mentioned something that looks like a regret, that if he knew what he knows now, possibly he wouldn't have dabbled into the business, because talked about there is a particular cabal or cartel even within the regulators that are not, in favor of his refinery functioning. But it seems, okay, we have it quite settled now. Now, where do we go from here? The government came and said, we won't be selling and do business with you in dollars again. We'll be doing it in Naira. And that kick-started. When the first rollout of PMS was done, there was a release by the NNPCL and the Dangote to say that particular supply was done. The transaction was done on a dollar basis, but from October 1, today is October 9, right now?
Yes.
So if actually the supply has been made in Naira, or the transaction has been made in Naira, and I guess I expect it to say, okay, give it or take, give it 2 weeks, maybe we should have a rollout that will be done. But what will the price reflection be? That is the basis of our conversation.
That is the basics, and that is what people are looking forward to. What will be the reflection when the final consumer wants to buy at the fueling station? What are they going to be paying? There have been speculations that we can be looking forward to 1,300, 1,400, especially with NNPCL quitting the middleman role. But they are just speculations. And are we back to speculating the price of fuel as we speculate the price of dollars? There was a time people speculated the dollar to Naira rate and all of that. Are we back to speculating the price of fuel like we did for dollar? This would not actually lead us anywhere.
That was a particular, I remember when the issue of the dollar to Naira thing, the speculators and a particular company and a website was fingered to be, one of Bookie FX. They will say, they are the speculators. So ban it, remove their, account on social media, render them useless because they are the speculators. You want to know what I'm talking about? Aboki FX has been put out of business. But what has happened to the dollar to Naira? There was a time under President Muhammadu Buhari that we learned some trees that provide shadow, for Bureau de Change operators, that, those trees in Abuja should be cut down, because it's those trees that the people with time Abokis now, those who deal in the black market, transaction for Naira to dollar or foreign currencies, is under those trees that they used to stay. So when you cut down those trees, there'll be no shadow for those guys to stay under. Trees were cut. The Naira to dollar thing didn't come down. And, it is possible. Now, I just would like to identify who proposed that, Bismarck, suggestion. And it was because the proposer, who made that proposal, you will say, okay, maybe it's just as a thought. But who are the ones at that round table? Either it's a long table, it's a round or hexagonal one, that agree to say, oh, go ahead, somebody get a cutlass or a Dormer engine, and you are cutting trees to stabilize Naira to dollar exchange. These are the things we've seen in this Nigeria. Now that we are here and we are hearing speculations. Speculations for what? You know what the conversation was initially, to say why we NNPCL, be the sole buyer, and then other persons will have to reach out to them to buy from them. The middleman supposed to make things harder. Now, the effect of middleman in economy, in basic economy, because they will buy and they will sell at whatever rate that they want. Now that the middleman is pulling off, I think Nigerians should be happy that there is no middleman in all of this. Yet we are hearing speculation that things, or the price of fuel may skyrocket. Why? At least there is no middleman again. Concept of basic economics tells us that when the middleman effect is removed, then everybody can have access to that particular product. And if you have access, you would like to sell at the price that Nigerians can buy. But we are hearing that the removal of the middleman might still make the product to increase. Why? Who are the speculators? Who are the ones speculating? These are the issues as well, so that you can identify them the way Nigerians or Nigeria as a state identified Aboki FX, on the dollar issue, if you understand what I'm saying.
I wish
Naira just crashed.
I wish I had answers to your questions.
I mean, dollar to Naira rate just crashed.
Yeah.
But that happened only in our dreams. And here we are today.
Exactly.
1,006 or how much now? Or 1,650? Depending on where you are buying.
I wish I had answers to your questions this morning. And that is why we have a professional to help us understand what we have at hand. like you mentioned in your opening remark, is it something that we should celebrate? Should we have the balloons going up right now in celebration with what we have with the Naira for crude? Or should Nigerians still be, still wait a bit to see what this portends for us as a country, and also for individuals who are consumers of petrol? But we would go on this break. When we return, of course, we hope to have Dr. Paul Alaje back with us to help us make sense of what our economy is about at this time. Do not go anywhere. Morning Spring will be right back.
All right, thank you for staying with us. The conversation will continue, and we've been having Dr. Paul Alaje. Hope you can hear us now, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning once again, sir.
Oh, all right, sir. Thank you for staying with us. You are going to land on your thoughts about Nigerians' excitement for the Naira crude thing and the real meaning that it could have on the economy. Please go ahead.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, the Naira crude sales appears to be very good, and the government said that anybody that wants to buy PMS, directly referring to Dangote Refinery, it could pay the Naira. The question now is of what? Because Body Light, Brent crude are sold in the dollar. Government is saying we want to reduce pressure for demand on the Naira, so that can come down, so that the demand for the dollar can come down. Okay, so we understand that. Can that really help bring down the price of PMS? The answer to me will be very, very marginally. Some places are currently selling PMS at 850. Some are selling at 900. Some are selling at 1,200. What I see in all of these conversations is we might see in the short term, and I mean between now and December, some slight reduction. But is this reduction sustainable? My answer is a capital no. It's not sustainable. And you need to follow me very carefully.
Yes.
You may not agree with my prediction, but when my prediction starts hurting you, you will agree with them. First, we are paying Naira of the dollar. Anytime we devalue the Naira, PMS price will still go up. Whether you pay Naira for it or you pay anything for it, once we devalue, the price will sporadically go up. Because the input is, we are paying Naira equivalent of the dollar. So it still has dollar connected. True. The price of crude may go up by next month globally. No thanks to the Israel-Iran war. Iran have said if America supports Israel in the ongoing war, they may ensure that the whole Europe don't have access to energy. I'm talking about petroleum products.
Yeah.
And they should remember that winter is coming. And I saw that in a publication by an Iranian media. So, also seen that if the crisis persists, it may affect the Middle East. The Middle East supplies reasonable quantity of global reasonable quantity of global oil supply around the world. So if that region goes into turmoil, remember that Russia, Ukraine are also the same, are currently fighting a war. So that's a major challenge the world may experience, which of course has little or which Nigeria has no little or no influence on. So if Nigeria cannot influence the price, and the price of crude around the world goes to about $100, government will still charge equivalent in Naira from Aliko Dangote refinery. So Dangote, for people to now think that, oh, because we are paying naira, the price will go down, I doubt. For price to go down, anyways, there are things that must be done.
Right.
What government has done is one of them, but it's not limited to this one. I have said it on your platform and several other platforms in the country. What we must do. The first thing is peg the naira to the dollar. Peg it. United Arab Emirates has pegged its own currency, the rams, to the dollar for years. Saudi Arabia has pegged for years, and you can verify this information online. Don't believe what I'm telling you. Check online. Yeah. Now, people will say, oh, those countries, they have oil. Don't we have oil too? Those countries are a bit transparent. What is stopping us from being transparent as a nation? So are we saying that our people should suffer because of our intransparency in governance? Because that is the meaning to me. Another person will say, oh, we need to float because central bank does not have any money. I said, then we are not ready. Yeah. Why did I say we are not ready? On daily basis, 700,000 barrels of crude is stolen, equivalent, not my figure, according to National Bureau of Statistics. We are supposed to be doing between 2.1 to 2.5 barrels. The highest we did in the first quarter of the year was 1.4 million barrels. What happened to 700? An average of 700,000 barrels of crude on daily basis. If you sell at $80, we're talking of over $20 billion. Add $20 billion to $38 billion we have in our what do we call now, in our foreign reserve. That will be enough to guarantee our 1 year import bill. When you can guarantee your 1 year import bill, you can fix your currency. So why can't we peg our currency? The crude joint theft will continue. We have accepted that in our mind we have been defeated and there is nothing we can do. But of course, flotation certainly for a developing and a consuming nation, it has implication. The implication is continuous inflation, continuous hunger, privation, and poverty.
Dr. Alaje, if I'm brought in here, for the purpose of education, you talk about pegging our currency, pegging the naira, against the dollar. You said UAE and some other countries have done it, but Nigerians are used to the term floating, and it doesn't appear like to be working. What exactly do you mean by pegging the naira against the dollar?
Okay, I'll tell you. When we consider some basket of commodity, and we consider the same basket of commodity in these countries, we notice that naira should be around 1,000 to 1,100. That's what naira should be around. Now, we have some Nigerians who have lost faith. Why do nations' currency get devalued most of the time? When people lose faith in their own currency, and you cannot blame them absolutely. When politicians lose faith in the currency of the country they are ruling over, they will collect FAC and take that money, change it to the dollars. Money that is shared as revenue to develop their state. They will collect it and change it to the dollars for the next election. So, please, I want us to start an experiment. Government, according to you, have started crude oil sale on the 1st of October. Ordinarily, exchange rate should be going down. Ordinarily. But according to central bank governor, not me, he said the bank noticed with caution that FAC collection might be interacting, and I'm paraphrasing now, might be sending signal, might be influencing exchange rates. What does that mean? When money is shared at FAC, the next day or week, we see that the price of dollar go up. That means we are making demand for dollar. That's what he said. That's the interpretation. That's the relationship. The price is going up, not that the price is coming down. The price is going up. So are we now going to say that it's just the refinery that's our issue? I tell you, 40%, not less than 40% of the current hike in price is a result of people who don't need the dollar and they are keeping it. They are not traveling. They are not doing business abroad. They are not sending money abroad. They are not paying school fees. They are not paying medical bills. They don't have anything they have abroad, apart from proceeds of corruption. And they keep this money, and at home, everybody is suffering. So when I say that we should peg, I'm saying that there should be a fixed rate of naira to the dollar. Now, if you don't fix, some individuals who have their money as naira already believe that naira will be devalued. They would therefore want to quickly go and buy the dollar, hoping that when naira devalued, they will sell it again and collect their money. That is deliberate action to work against your own country, which is wrong. That is why we feel that it will affect everybody. Now, this is what we have suggested. Peg the naira. A lot of persons say, oh, we don't have enough money. I already mentioned to you where the monies are. The money we are spending to buy yachts, the money we are spending to buy SUVs, because all those things are bought in the dollar. Keep that money in the reserve. You don't need to spend money buying jets, buying yachts, buying SUVs, and on wasteful spending, or take that money from FARC to be keeping in different state lodges. It's not necessary.
So
we can peg the naira.
Okay. Dr. Olaje, since the CBN governor, as you have mentioned, has access to this kind of intel that, some state governors make use of the FARC allocation, convert it into dollar for a later time, what is stopping, the CBN and the economic team of Mr. President from doing what you have just said now, taking this particular route, pegging the naira to the dollar, so we do not have fluctuation of the naira to the dollar?
Well, I don't know. I don't know, and I'm currently not the CBN governor. So I really don't know why they have their own decision. And to some persons who have spoken with me, they feel that if they do that, they cannot defend it. And I say, well, your job as a nation is to defend your nation. President Trump, when he was in office, you can castigate him for many things, but he's a man who loves his country, and he will tell you America first. There's so many things to castigate Trump for, but for him, it's America first. For me, it's Nigeria first. And that's why I want our policymakers, even though in Nigeria, do we really have thorough policymakers or people who have background in something, but what they have their background on is still keeping their back on the ground. Because they have never done a thorough study. They've never shown themselves proof of the knowledge they claim they have. What am I saying in essence? Having a background in economics and having it as first degree, I don't think I think it's too elementary for people like that to be kept in critical economic position, to be making deep economic policy for over 200 million people. I think it's a big risk we are taking.
Who exactly are you talking
about?
about?
Too big a risk.
Who exactly?
For me, those in key modality, I don't see. You see, small mind discuss people. I'm discussing the policy of government, because if you know it, it will show. If you know it, it will show. You cannot say that you want to leave the country volatile and less policy of demand and supply, abdicate price. It cannot work. What determines exchange rate is faith. What determines exchange rates anywhere in the world is faith. Do we believe, do we think that this price worth this? And the rest of the world will keep convincing you that your currency is too strong. And the more they convince you that your currency is strong, instead of the rest of the world to tell us that you don't have enough reserve, your gold, don't allow foreigners to cut away with your gold in private jets. Let your gold be sold through official means. One of the countries in the Middle East, I will not give you the name, was attributed to be the second exporter of gold in the world. But do you know that they have not discovered one gold on their soil? Where is the gold coming from? Zimbabwe. Go to Zimbabwe is the shadow of itself. So Africans should have the strongest currency in the world, but corruption, the wealth in Africa is in bank accounts of our leaders, is in their tummy, is in their real estates.
Let me take you up quickly on this. There are reports out there that the NNPCL has quit a middleman role with the Dangote refinery, which will actually give access to the marketers to go to Dangote directly and buy products, for themselves to sell. How do you think this will impact the economy, and how do you think this will impact the final price the consumer will have to pay to get a liter of petrol?
So, there have been a lot of secrecy, a lot of shading between Dangote Refinery and NNPCL in the past month. So we really were not sure as to what NNPCL is buying or not. But what I can tell you is that we are not very sure if there is a smooth relationship between the largest refinery and the largest oil company, NNPCL, in Nigeria. Now that the marketers want to go, I expect that forces of demand and supply will adjudicate price. That sounds good, not so that forces of demand and supply will now know what is the fair price. In life, nothing is fair. Nothing is fair. You see, again, I have problem with those who just read BSc economics because I was there. In economics school, they will teach you as though once you understand forces of demand and supply, you can defend anything. I just want them to go and take their time, go and enroll again and learn. Let me tell you, in life or in economics, nothing is fair. Do you know that if somebody opened a filling station in Osogbo today and there is scarcity everywhere, and the person starts selling at 2,000 naira, do you know people will still buy?
Are you still with us? Yes, we can hear you.
If they sell PMS, if they sell PMS at 2,000 naira today, somebody will buy. What will happen is that those buying, if they are barbers, they will start barbing Mr. Daniel's head for 5,000 naira. Mr. Daniel will now tell his employer that he needs more money. Advert rate will go up. Inflation will kick in. So when we say that, let's first, that argument was destroyed at the last Great Depression by Maynard Keynes. When the classical school feels that the choice of demand and supply to advocate price, we need visible hands to sometimes show the way to the invisible hands. It's not all the time that you allow force of demand and supply to adjudicate price. So that the marketers are going to him does not necessarily mean that the price will be certain way. Listen, do you know that Dangote will now control all of us in terms of pricing? Whatever he sells is what we will buy. What happened to Port Harcourt Refinery that NNPCL told us will come mainstream in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022? This year alone, how many times have you said in your station that Dangote Refinery will come mainstream? I told you the last time, you told me it will come mainstream in September. And I said, let's wait till September. My sister, September has passed. Where is the refinery? Where is the oil? Where is the PMS? You see, something is fundamentally wrong with us. We like to clap with one hand and expect sound to come out. Dangote Refinery itself does not make force of demand and supply to work in Nigeria. Because you cannot have one person and say that that person that is a monopoly and the commodity is an essential commodity, is a commodity of life, it's like air that we breathe. What can you do without energy?
So, Dr. Olaje,
you're expecting for us to we are just playing. Like they say it on the street in Osogbo, they play. All right. We are just playing.
Because we have to run, Doctor. There have been speculations that the fuel price may hit 1,300, 1,350 when the NNPCL removes itself as the middleman. How possible is this? Would we have a case of speculations as we had with the Naira dollar thing?
No, I see NNPC, I see PMS go to 1,400. Really? And I will tell you why. And I'm not saying today or tomorrow. I'm saying it between December and March.
Why?
One, exchange rate flotation. Exchange rate flotation. It does not favor us. Our going up. So when you keep floating, your currency gets depreciated. So even without the price going in that direction, it will go up. 2, there is no competition with Dangote. That's another one. When the marketer sees that people can still buy it at 1,000 tomorrow, increase it by 500, by 50 naira, increase it again by 100 naira. By March, you know that with this price, people are still queuing up. The reason why government removed subsidy was that queue will end. There's still queue. There is still queue. On the streets of Lagos and Abuja, there is still queue. There are queues. So I said to you that what we saw from our research between December and January, we from the numbers, except things change, and the approach the PMX price may increase to 1,300, 1,400. So what we need to do is not to have one source of supply or import dependence. We need to go back to those refineries and make them work.
All right. Quickly, Doctor, we learned there are some refineries that are in the offing. There is one 11,000 barrels per day capacity Aradel refinery in Rivers State, a 20,000 capacity Clear Gold refinery in Delta State, and 12,000 capacity Ezekiel in Bayelsa State. If and when those refineries come on board, do you see them facing some of these bottlenecks as well? Or you think maybe it will enhance,
11,000.
Yeah.
How many thousand did you call it, sir?
We have one 11,000 Aradel refinery in River State, another 20,000.
11,000 what? Barrels of liters.
Barrels per day, yeah, capacity.
We need to know if it's barrels per day.
Barrels per day.
One truck is carrying 33,000. Sir, one truck is carrying 33,000. 45,000.
So
well, it's a mismatch.
Yeah. So you say
it's a mismatch.
Those numbers are negligible. You think it will enhance what Dangote is trying to do?
We are talking of hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of thousands of liters.
All right, quickly,
That's what we are talking about.
Yeah, let me just put it there. This will be our final question because of time. One of these days, we'd like to have you a full stretch and, ceteris paribus from our end as well. Many persons are saying Dangote Refinery, the company, as well, the entity, have enjoyed the goodwill of the people. People are trying to support them whenever they're having challenges with, institutions and the rest of them. Don't you think they owe it to Nigerians as well to come clean with the price? Because when NNPCL came up with the 950 naira per liter thing in Lagos, Dangote Refinery issued a statement and said that's not true. And I just asked them, so what is true? Don't you think they owe it to Nigerians as well to say this is not the time to be opaque? This is how much we are selling.
Businessmen always protect their own interests, like politicians. Dangote Refinery has a lot of interest and stake in the Nigerian projects and the oil and gas. Continuous existence of business is more important to the business person than wanting to come out clean. The only way we can do that is to force Dangote to publish his price. And how, in the current arrangement, is going to be true competition. Get other refinery work, bring the price down. Dangote will be forced to bring this price. There was a time the price of cement went up. The competitor mentioned how much he would sell. Dangote was forced to mention how much their own cement is.
Yeah.
That is how it works.
But the same,
activism.
The same man has been said, people should stop tagging him as a monopolist. That is not a monopolist, that other persons that want to do the same business should come and do the same business.
Nobody can tag as a monopolist, and that is why I said again, have knowledge of economics is not sufficient. When you are the sole operator or sole person selling something, it is called monopoly. When you are two, it is called a duopoly. When you are three, you have gone beyond monopoly and duopoly. It becomes oligopoly. Our government should encourage more people so that the influence of one monopoly or the duopoly or the oligopoly will reduce. So whether Dangote like it or not, it's one of those polies. It's either monopoly duopoly or oligopoly. Thank you so very much.
All right, moving
And
away.
you know, NNPCL will also influence because at the time it was a monopoly. It was the single buyer.
Yeah.
So single buyer can buy an influenced price.
All right.
That is why it's also dangerous. Then we have a duopoly.
All right.
So whatever it is, it's either of the way. Thank you so much.
Right. Moving away from all these policies, we have been talking with a financial expert and a senior economist, Dr. Paul Alaje. Thank you for staying with us and bearing your minds on these national issues. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Quite an interesting way to end is there. The war of wars of the police and the police, monopoly, duopoly, oligopolies. The only poly that Nigeria understand now is to have a price reduction that will be consistent, not just price reduction, but accessibility and affordability of the same product is what Nigerians, are looking for at this time. We must go, Evelyn.
Yes, we have to go, and that's where we hit the brakes for Morning Spring this morning on Western Spring Television. We hope that you have been able to learn one or two things about the issue at hand when it comes to fuel, petrol. My name is Evelyn Ohiola. We'll make a return tomorrow for another interesting time on the show. Until then, have yourself a good and productive day. Ensure to stay around for Spring Trends coming right after this broadcast.
All right, smart thing from all the police. Make sure you're in the right poly. By the way, that is giving me a positive vibe this morning. Femi Ojo is managing. A big shout out to the production team. We'll be back here tomorrow. God willing. Stay strong. Stay happy. Bye.
On it up is the Wild Wild West. And Western Spring Television is putting out all of the that you get every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girls got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Badamasi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, a political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker. The nickname Kwenkelemens was a natively corrupted version of peculiar mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at the age of 42. Western Spring Television identifies Adegoke Adelabu as a watershed character in history.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Our comedy is winning fans globally, but we are losing our wildlife to illegal bushmeat, and this is not funny at all. If we continue this way, we'll risk losing all our animals and leaving nothing behind for the generations to come. Tell your family and friends not to buy or sell illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects us all.
Evelyn Ohiole,
Hi.
King Eve, how are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine will be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and he feels so reserved. He really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe he's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just being unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if he doesn't have sex for a day, he's going to die.
When it comes to finance, women also support their husbands financially. You need me emotionally. You need me spiritually.
Cassie is an amazing person, but I hate the too much attachment to that gender. I need you spiritually, I need you mentally. I can get these things anywhere with money. If you go by the topic was, who does marriage favors the most? You know how many jobless women they marry every Saturday? They are saying it favors you. Are they vague so?
Growing up, when I was in the world, we've heard of
Who are you now?
Well, MC Too Much said, he likes saying when I was in the world, And the last time I checked, well, it looks a bit innocent, facially, but deep down, he's actually out of this world. We're all in the world now. As long as you're alive, you're in the world. So, MC Too Much, I beg you to talk about that. I don't want to hear that. Next time you talk about I kiss my ass.
I think I have a problem with you saying ladies are champion, and that's the problem. Always trying to attach too much importance to that gender.
It's giving insecurity, it's giving low self-esteem, it's giving a blatant display of egoism. Because at the end of the day, a man who is secure in his words, a man who is confident of who he is, will not really be disturbed as to whether women are being referred to as champions or not. I mean, at the end of the day, Joseph's a really great guy, but whether he likes it or not, women are champions.
Ahmadu Bello, a Prince Royal, was born 6th of December 1910 at Raba Village, Sokoto, northwestern Nigeria. His father was a district head and heir apparent to the Sultanate throne from the house of Usmanu Danfodio, a religious and social reformer who brought the Habib dynasty under the Fulani Caliphate in the beginning of the 19th century. Ahmadu Bello is a barrel of consciousness. In 1944, he engineered the establishment of the Northern People's Congress (NPC) as the first political party in northern Nigeria and the rallying point for politicians in the region before independence. History will not forget Ahmadu Bello for his charisma and political sagacity, which provided easy passage for his kinsmen to assume political and administrative positions in Nigeria's post-independence era. The distinguished elder statesman and Sardauna of Sokoto has his face on his country's 200 naira as of honor to one of the architects of Nigeria's independence. Western Spring Television identifies Ahmadu Bello as a watershed character in history.
Since assuming the mantle of leadership in Osun, the state of the Living Spring, Governor Demola Adeleke has left no one in doubt about his avowed commitment to the overall development of the state. The footprints of his transformative agenda span through education, transportation, health, staff welfare, social infrastructure, among others. Living Spring Update, a weekly diary on Rave 91.7 FM and Western Spring Television, Channel 190 Star Times DTT, will extract Governor Adeleke's development agenda for your listening and viewing pleasure. From the bustling market to innovative agricultural initiatives, from the testimonies of civil servants and retirees to the cheers of artisans across the state of the Living Spring, you will discover how Governor Adeleke's administration is driving the economic growth of the state. Stay informed and engaged with Living Spring Update, where we will delve deep into the details of ongoing infrastructural projects, new initiatives in healthcare, education, and other impactful strides being made across the state. Tune in every Wednesday on Western Spring Television at 6 p.m. and every Saturday on Rave 91.7 FM at exactly 2:30 p.m. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at Western Spring Television and at Rave 917 FM as we tell the story of how Governor Adeleke is shaping Osun into the beacon of development and opportunity.
Living Spring Update is a production of the Office of the Spokesperson to the Governor, Governor's Office, Oshogbo.
Our pangolins are in crisis. They need our help. Hundreds of pangolins are killed for their meat and scales every year. If we continue this way, we'll risk losing them forever. Tell your family and friends to say no to illegal bushmeat from pangolins, because protecting nature protects us all.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Eva is pounding current events, traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast. Detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, said as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
I am just too funny, and I have superpowers to bring extinct animals back to life. Okay, that's not true, but I do have the voice to save our remaining wildlife. We have only 400 elephants and 100 gorillas left. We can't afford to lose even a single one anymore. So let's work together to protect our natural heritage. Tell your family and friends not to buy illegal bushmeats like pangolins and crocodiles, because poaching steals from us all.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Commercial drive and industrial re-engineering form the core features of the 5-point agenda of Governor Ademola Adeleke during the electioneering campaigns, which endeared him to majority of voters. And since he was elected and sworn into office on the 28th of November 2022, he has been working around the clock to deliver on this promise. Why did Governor Adeleke choose to place premium on restoring the commercial and industrial potentials which this part of Nigeria was noted for? The answer is simple. The Adeleke administration is conscious of the gains the citizens can derive if Osun State is industrialized and turned into a commercial hub. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry has been trending in all August of the media on account of a renewed industrial and commercial policy designed to accommodate substantial input of the private sector within and outside the state. How has the ministry fared in jump-starting this policy, which is expected to change the narratives of a civil service in Osun State to that of a center for commerce, trade, and industrial investment? What are the short, medium, and long-term expectations of government on this industrial and commercial policy? Episode 12 of Living Spring Update. Today we'll fact-check all this. My name is Tomilola Daniel, your uncle.
We want to accelerate the pace of industrialization because we are on a mission, and that is why we have embarked on several initiatives across different sectors of Osun economy, which include the revitalization of the free trade zone, which is aimed to provide over 1 million direct and indirect jobs for the people, establishment of farm produce aggregation centers with cold and dry storage facilities and processing units, encouragement of youth to key into skills upgrade and entrepreneurship development training programs, revival of moribund industries, among others.
Putting into perspectives the industrial and commercial policy of Governor Ademola Adeleke's administration, it is noteworthy that the Ministry of Commerce and Industry has been tailored to draw from the colonial history of Osun State as a commercial hub and industrial nerve center, the first cotton manufacturing industry in Nigeria. British Cotton and Ginnery Association was established in Osogbo. The capital city also housed one of the main railway terminals in pre-independent Nigeria. The geographical location of the state makes it an easy recipient of several important projects, among which is the National Electricity Control Center, which for many years was the only power distribution center for the entire country. Governor Ademola Adeleke is mindful of these legacies and their potency for a state yearning for financial vibrancy and economic development. Serious attention was paid by the administration of former Governor Olagunsoye Oyinlola to reawaken the industrial potentials of the state, which culminated in the creation of a free trade zone and establishment of a drug manufacturing factory in Osogbo, the state capital. The laudable initiatives were short-lived when his tenure was abruptly terminated via a controversial court judgment and the refusal of his successors to complete the project. Today, the story is taking a new positive dimension. 14 years after the exit of the Oyinlola administration, Governor Ademola Adeleke is predisposed to reactivating the moribund projects, which have a lot of promise for economic development of the state. Osun State Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Reverend Bumi Jenyo, said reactivating the industrial and commercial sector of the ministry is an active engagement in the state's economy through public-private sector investment. The commissioner is hopeful of success, looking at the effort put in by the government because of the positive responses of stakeholders involved in driving the industrial policy.
Expectation is to avail the world the economic potential of the state, which we've displayed within that 5 days of the summit. And aftermath, people now see the need for them to invest in Osun. And the reason that to show, and we will, and the governor have already displayed the enabling environment for the would-be investors. And the next thing is now to establish relationship, which we started from the summit. And ever since we've concluded the summit, people have been showing interest in all the 5 key agenda of Mr. Governor: health, agric, education, infrastructure, and tourism.
The Osun Free Trade Zone was 70% completed by the PDP administration, which was at that time in its second term before it was abandoned for 12 years that the APC government held sway in Osun State. Due to overall industrial project at all stoppers of construction, Governor Ademola Adeleke's 5-point agenda is, however, being implemented to extract the minimum benefit which an industrial turnaround of the state can provide for government and the people. According to Reverend Bumi Jenyo, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry is inclined to hold and sustain the confidence of investors, which the state government has identified as key in its drive for commercial and industrial uplift of the state. He told Living Spring Update how the ministry has been working around the clock to achieve this. It is close that Osun State has not totally lost her industrial potentials, contrary to a general view, adding that the Adeleke administration has shown serious commitment to changing this negative narrative.
His Excellency, Senator Asiwaju Ademola Jackson Rodin Adeleke, he immediately came to power. His first assignment was that he wants to resuscitate all the dead or abandoned projects of the previous administration. And among those abandoned projects are the Free Trade Zone. And the Free Trade Zone domiciled in my ministry. And I was given an assignment that we should resuscitate the Free Trade Zone. And visiting the place, according to record, the Free Trade Zone was about 90% completed by the administration of Oyinola before it was before the change of government. But you won't believe it now that for that 12 years that they abandoned, the 90% completed zone is now almost 0%. Everything then is gone. So we need to attract investors. And to attract investors into the zone is the assurance being given by Mr. Governor. And also to provide infrastructures, because those that want to invest in Free Trade Zone need infrastructure in the zone. They're coming mostly to establish their companies and must prove to them that most of them facilities, electricity, the communal water, the road network, which is what we are already set in place now. For your information, the outcome of that summit, as we speak now, we have about 10 companies that have already identified that they want to establish their industry. And we're about allocating land for them in the Free Trade Zone. And the long term, these are the medium, the long term is that we want to create employment. We want to boost the economy of the state. We want to change the narrative of the state from being a civil servant state to an industrialized state. We don't want Osun State to depend solely on the 30 days income of the civil servant. We want to, it's not that it's not going to help the economy too, because we cannot abandon that. because they are part of the economy. But it will not be so dependent of the economy. And by the time the free trade zone is full operational, we are looking at about minimum of 5,000 employment. Minimum of 5,000 employment. Within those, we've seen people that want to establish a computer village there. The tricycle plant is to be established there, and so forth. Because I don't have the record of it, but at least minimum of 10 companies ready to establish in the free trade zone. Machine tools is fully operational. Machine tools is fully operational. At the moment, even the 75% of the employment they are all Osun region. We visited the place. I've visited the place 3 times. As a matter of fact, they will soon launch a cashew processing farm within the machine tools. But because government have not been giving support, previous government, to the organization, because they are privately owned. That's why people are they are not aware that they exist. They are not moribund. It's been run by a private. As a matter of fact, today is the only authentic security manufacturing company. They bulletproof. They manufacture bulletproof from machine tools. They produce a lot of security, which I won't be going to, which federal government is using, and they supply caterpillars. They recycle the iron rods within that machine tools. And if you look at Obelawo is full operational, and these are the indigenous industry that have been in existence in the 70s, in the 80s, and they are still in existence. Moyi Oil. Yesterday we just inaugurated the private sector organization, organized private sector organization. There are about 5 organizations that form, and they are part of these industries. 370 industries membership. They are in Osun State that form the private sector organization. We have the Chamber of Commerce, but because government has not been actively involved in what they do, which the present administration under the leadership of Asiwaju Ademola Jackson Adeleke is doing, involving, because if you don't involve yourself, and now they feel comfortable. And with the help of government, some of them that they could not access funding, we help them to access funding. We profile them, because these are things that government need to do. Because if you don't profile your companies, your private companies, the financial houses will not, they will not give them chance. And that is what we are trying to do, giving them support. I want to let the whole world know that Osun. And let me give you an example. Osun is so blessed with the substation, the electricity substation, the national grid. At the moment, there are some factories that enjoy 24 hours electricity. Among the machine tools, they have 24 hours electricity, though they pay to their notes. So I haven't said that. That is, since we will say something is scarce if it's not available. Once it's available, it's not scarce. So machine tools enjoy 24 hours electricity. And some other factories, some other companies, they do 20 hours. Can you believe that? In the whole country, who can proud of that? It's only Osun State. that we have 24 hours, 20 hours electricity. And these are things that we showcase during the industrial summit. And the potential, by the grace of God, by 4 o'clock today, I'll be having an online meeting with a Malaysian company that they want to come. Before they board their plane, they want to have a word with me. They're on their way to come and establish industry.
The Ministry of Commerce and Industry is positioned to operate in line with the state government's industrialization agenda, with a career staff that believes in the agenda and committed to executing it. Mr. Tajuddin Oluwaseyi Adegun is the Director of Industry in the ministry. He reconciled the vigor of the ministry's career officers with the receptive attitude of their delicate administration to suggestions and recommendations put forward before it from time to time. This, believed, has assisted efforts to birth a new page in the quest for industrial turnaround of Osun State.
We thank God for blessing Osun State with Senator Dr. Ademola Jackson Nuruddin Adeleke, a worker-friendly executive governor. Career officers in this ministry are doing very well. Why? Because motivations are there. The workforce is being motivated very well by the state government. And workers are reciprocating the gesture of His Excellency Mr. Governor, by coming to work punctually and do their bit efficiently, effectively, and diligently. You come to this ministry by, say, 7:30 a.m., you meet career officers on ground to attend to your request.
The Ministry of Commerce and Industry is people-oriented with specific references to trade and commercial activities which have engineered interventions and created greater rapport with stakeholders more than ever before. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Market Affairs, Mrs. Grace Eniola Omotosho, said the collaboration has yielded good results and strengthened the capacity of government to deliver democracy dividends to indigents and residents of Osun State.
Well, the level of collaboration, if I will rate it, it's been really high, on the high side. Virtually, this office belongs to them and my very good self. Not the only Iyaloja, but we have 3 sections. We have them in 3 segments in the state. We have the Iyalojas, we have the traders themselves, we call them the Olowos, and then we have the Babalojas in the market. And on assuming office, we had their data collated, giving us about 472 Iyalojas. The Babalojas too, we have them quite a number, about 300 and something. The traders can't even, put their numbers out. So we have invited them for meetings severally, deliberated on how to, make the markets known to people outside of Osun State, then how to even bring down prices, the skyrocketing prices. We've deliberated severally on how to increase our IGR in Osun State. So I am thinking on really make it official. I'm working on making some, preparing some policy that will go to the state assembly and that will become a policy in the state. Because in the olden days, we used to have a market board that fixes prices when government brings in good. But now that such is not available, we are trying to appeal to the market, men and women, to be God-fearing in dealing with people, and all these other hide and seek prices like Owule, Shire, telling them to remove it, because all of this come on the end consumer. So we've been telling them not to add their own prices to the already high prices of goods in the market. Then we have proposed Oshuwan Mole. You know, going around the market, you see some of these models, they are in 6.5 cups, 7 cups, the highest you will see maybe 8. So the government has approved Oshuwan Mole in the making now, where they will have 10 cups in the model, and then appealing to them to make sure prices are okay. Not because if I go back to the market, what will I buy? That's a major problem. That if I sell now, then if I go back to the market, what will I buy? You know, we said no. This that you are selling, make sure you give people prices. And we have tried to come up with farmers consumer market, where farmers will sell directly to the public. Bring produce from your farm, then sell to the public directly. We have seen that market going on in Ayegbaju. And there's a new one already in Iwo, Mufti Market, where you see people selling 2,800 somewhere, they sell 2,600 in the market. So this is what government is doing. We are collaborating with all these markets, all these people coming on board to make sure that the environment is conducive for consumer in the states.
The Adeleke administration has fashioned an industrial policy 23 years after a similar initiative was modeled. A program of action has been worked out that is speeding up private sector interest in the policy. With a frenzy of consultations, negotiations, and memorandum of understanding signed between government and investors within and outside the state, as well as the positive responses emanating from these collaborations. Shall we say a roadmap for commercial and industrial development has been drawn? Yes, so it is. That will be all on episode 12 on Living Spring Update this week. Join us again for a fresher package. I am Tomilola Daniel. Bye for now.
Spring Update is a production of the Office of the Spokesperson to the Governor, Governor's Office, Oshogbo.
Èkó Lagos, Èkó akéte ìlú ọgbọ́n, Èkó akéte ìlú ìmọ̀, ọmọ ọlọ́gbọ́n dorí ẹja mú, àwọn òmùgọ̀ àdì mú nírù. Ẹni dèkó tí ò gbọ́n, ọgbọ́n rẹ̀ dọ̀run alákejì. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí àrọ́bá, ẹni tó tẹ ìṣẹ́ridó tó sì kọ́kọ́ gbé ibẹ̀ lọ́dún 1699 ló jẹ́ ọdẹ tí orúkọ rẹ̀ ń jẹ́ Ògúnfúnminíre, ọmọ ọba ìlú Ilé Ifẹ̀ ní í ṣe. Ó máa ń ṣọdẹ lọ síbẹ̀ láti Ifẹ̀. Ó sì pàgọ́ tó ti máa ń sinmi ṣáájú kó tún tó lọ bẹ ilé rẹ̀ wò. Nígbà tó yá, àwọn ọdẹ mìíràn wá darapọ̀ mọ́ láti ṣọdẹ. Nínú igbó yìí ni wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣọdẹ tí wọ́n sì ń pọ̀ sí pẹ̀lú àwọn ènìyàn wọn. Báyìí ni wọ́n ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní tàn kálẹ̀ tó fi dé gbogbo ibi tí Èkó fẹ̀ dé lónìí. Ìlú Èkó, ìlú ńlá. Ìlú Èkó yìí ni ibùdó agbára ìṣàkóso ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà wà tẹ́lẹ̀ rí, pàápàá lásìkò ìjọba amúnisìn ṣáájú ọdún 1991 tí wọ́n gbé lọ sílùú Àbújá. Èkó àdèlé ọmọ agun àgẹ̀rẹ̀, Èkó ọmọ afíjú wọjà arìn gbẹ́ndẹ́kẹ́, ọ̀bùn wọjà páṣíọ̀ṣíọ̀, ẹ̀yọ̀ ní bàbá Èkó, àríjó ṣe bí ọba. Èkó ọmọ odò tí ò ṣeé yájú sí, Èkó arómi sá lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́.
Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ló ń kojú àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn ará àwùjọ tí ohun òdẹ̀ dókè
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìnira ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìyà làwọn èèyàn ń kojú rẹ̀ ní àdúgbò. Ojú ọ̀nà tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó, iná ọba tó mẹ́ẹ̀ tó ń ṣe ségesège, àwọn tó ń hu ìwà àbàṣejẹ́ obì tí ń sun lẹ́rùn àti àwọn nǹkan tí ò tí ì dé tí gbọ́ ìjọba. Ṣé wọ́n ní etí ọba nílé etí ọba lóko, èèyàn náà ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Òun náà ló jẹ́ kí ìkànnì Western Spring Television pé ètò tí ó jẹ́ kẹ́yìn ara lé ẹ̀yin ará àwùjọ kẹ́lẹ́ mọ́ sọ bí tí bàtà bá ti ń tayé lẹ́sẹ̀ fún àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ ṣe ni wípé ẹ mú fóònù yín ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yín ẹ dàbù rẹ̀ ẹ mọ̀ yá ní gbọ́rọ̀ ẹ dàbù rẹ̀ ẹ ṣe àkàálẹ̀ ohun tó ń fi àmójútó ìjọba, ohun tó ń fi àmójútó àwọn aláṣẹ, ohun tó ń fi àmójútó àwọn elétò ìlera, àwọn elétò ààbò àti àwọn míì tí ọ̀rọ̀ kàn. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí fọ́nrán náà ìyẹn fídíò tẹ́ máa ṣe àkàálẹ̀ rẹ̀ kó mọ̀ ju ìṣẹ́jú 2 tàbí 3 lọ. Ẹ má fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa ní orí WhatsApp lórí ẹ̀rọ 0803 865 1049 0803 865 1049. Ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn fọ́nrán yín àwọn àwòrán yín kó máa wọlé. Orí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí ẹ̀yin gangan lẹ jẹ́ ojú ẹlẹ́rìí. Ohun táwọn èèyàn nílò, ohun tó ń jẹ àwọn èèyàn láwùjọ níyà, ilé tí ò nílé ìgbọ̀nsẹ̀, ibi tí ò níbi tó ti ń dẹ ẹ̀gbin nù, tó wá jẹ́ pé ẹ̀gbin wọn ní àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn aráàlú lára, gbogbo ẹ̀ ẹ fi tó àwọn aláṣẹ létí. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ nílò ní agbègbè yín ẹ jẹ́ kí àwọn aláṣẹ mọ̀. Orúkọ mi ni Adéyẹmí Ọlábọ̀dé, èmi ni atọ́kùn ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí lórí Western Spring Television, ìkànnì 150 ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Ajé láago 2:30 ọ̀sán.
Ìlú Ìbàdàn. Ìlú Ìbàdàn ni olú ìlú àti ìlú tí ó tóbi jù ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tó wà ní ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn gúúsù ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Kò dín ní èèyàn bíi mílíọ̀nù 6 tó ń gbé nígboro ìlú Ìbàdàn nìkan ṣoṣo. Odù Ifá ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì ni àwọn Yorùbá gbàgbọ́ pé ó tẹ ìlú Ìbàdàn dó. Àwọn ọmọ ìlú Ìbàdàn jẹ́ akíkanjú, wọ́n fẹ́ràn ìdàgbàsókè, ọ̀làjú ni wọ́n, àwọn baba ńlá wọn sì jẹ́ jagunjagun. Àbájọ tí a fi máa ń gbọ́ nínú oríkì wọn pé Ìbàdàn Mèsì Ọ̀gọ̀, nílé Olúyọ̀lé, ìlú Ògúnmọ́lá olódògbò kẹ̀rí lójú ogun, Ìbàdàn ọmọ àjòròsàn, ọmọ àjẹ̀gbínyó, ọmọ àfikàràhùn fọ́ orí mu. Olúbàdàn lórúkọ oyè ọba ilẹ̀ Ìbàdàn. Máyẹ̀ Okùn Adé ló kọ́kọ́ jẹ baálẹ̀ nìbàdàn. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlú ńlá, ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn iléeṣẹ́ àti àjọ ńláńlá ló wà nílùú Ìbàdàn. Ìbàdàn tó gbonílé tó gbé àlejò, ọmọ Ìbàdàn kí ni sóò.
As is.
Western Spring Television ìkànnì 150 lórí Star Times ní channel 190 ní Star Times DTT. Bákan náà la kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tó jẹ́ pé lórí ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ gbogbo àti YouTube lẹ ti ń tẹ̀lé wa. Báwo ni ṣàlàáfíà lẹ wà? Ṣé ẹ ń jẹun déédéé? Ẹ mọ̀ pé gbogbo ìgbà nǹkan tí mo máa ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín nìyẹn. Torí pé tó bá ti ń jẹun ò kí ń rù. Ọmọ tó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní oúnjẹ dáadáa kò ní ṣàárẹ̀ kò ní ṣàìsàn. Tó bá ṣe fẹ́rẹ́ gan báyìí tó máa ń gbóúnjẹ gidi tó bá ti kó sọ́ọ̀ báyìí. Ara ẹ̀ á tún balẹ̀ ni. ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Alásè fún tòní cooking show yín níbi tẹ́ ẹ ti máa mọ bó ṣe lọ tá a ti máa ń gbé yín níbẹ̀ yán-yán pẹ̀lú bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe lè mú eléyìí mọ́tò ọ̀hún owó yẹn ò dẹ̀ ní pọ̀ jù ó dẹ̀ tún máa ṣara yín lóore ẹ tún máa jóúnjẹ yín lójú ọjọ́ àti lásìkò lórúkọ Ọlọ́run ọba lórúkọ gbogbo àwọn ikọ̀ ètò yìí náà ni mo kí yín pé ẹ tún káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Alásè fún tòní Folúṣọ́ Olúwàgbémi Gàyà àjọ pèdèpèdè yín Alásè yín ló kí yín pé ètò tún ti tò lónìí ẹ̀dẹ̀ ti mọ̀ pé gbogbo gbàtà bá wá sórí ètò àgọ́ tí oúnjẹ la máa ń wá fún yín kẹ̀dẹ̀ wá máa wò ó kò ní ń ṣẹjọ́ èmi náà o wàhálà tí yín ni mò ń bá kiri ẹ̀yìn ara lé kí n lè máa mú ọlọ́wọ́ síbí alásè tó ń mojú ẹ̀ gangan wá fún yín sórí ètò tó máa ti wá wọ́n á ṣe gbogbo nǹkan tó mọ̀ ṣe yẹn tó máa ti sè é á máa pàdé lórí tábìlì máa tún máa yí má lè jò wá kó lè ṣe rí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ mọ̀kọ́rọ̀ tó bá ti lẹ́lẹ́rìí ó ti kúrò nírọ́ lèmi fi wà ń bí èmi kọ́ ni máa sóúnjẹ fún yín o màá máa ronú sí i lọ́jọ́ kan èmi náà máa dáná fún yín lórí ètò Alásè ìrànwọ́ ní ọkọ̀ ara yín balẹ̀ lórí ètò fún tòní Alásè wa ti wà lórí ètò wọ́n ti mú oúnjẹ tuntun tó máa sè wá ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ kábọ̀ wá tá bá padà dé máa fi àlejò mi sórí ètò Alásè lètò Western Spring Television làwà.
ẹ kú dédé wòye o orúkọ tèmi ni Rukayat Bisola Ọlárìnwájú èmi ni CEO Starlight Restaurant.
ẹ ṣé gan ni CEO wa Madam Rukayat ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ilẹ̀ tún ti kún as usual bẹ́ ṣe máa ń ṣe ẹ tún ti tó gbogbo ẹ̀ kalẹ̀ ẹ jọ kí la fẹ́ sè lórí ètò fún tòun.
a fẹ́ ṣe spaghetti elépo ẹlẹ́mìí méjì.
spaghetti elépo ẹ̀mí kan nìyẹn epo àbí ẹ ti wá àdí méje mọ́ ó wá di ẹlẹ́mìí mẹ́jọ a máa wo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa jọ síra wọn lórí ètò fún lórí bóyá pápápá àwọn ingredients tó wà nílẹ̀ ẹ bá mi ṣàlàyé ẹ̀ fáwọn ará ilé.
a ní edé tá a ti lọ.
irú edé wo lẹ lọ.
edé kékeré
edé wẹ́wẹ́
yẹn ń la lọ edé ńlá ni.
èmi náà ń wò ó.
àwọn ẹja gbígbẹ kéékèèké.
ó ń rèé o ẹ wo dáadáa o àwọn ẹja gbígbẹ kéékèèké tán máa ń fi abọ́ tà yẹn.
a ní ẹja ọsàn panla.
tán ti yan.
a dẹ̀ ní pọ̀nmọ́ kíká.
ó tún kan pọ̀nmọ́.
a ní ẹja alárùn alẹ́ja ṣáwá.
kí ló dé tó jẹ́ oríṣi bíi ẹja máa ń lọ bí oríṣi mẹ́ta.
ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹja jẹ́ àdídùn ó máa ń fún oúnjẹ ní àdídùn tó dára bẹ́ẹ̀ ni a sì ní olóòtú náà.
irú ọkọ bẹ̀ àmọ́ ẹ̀yin ò ṣe bẹ̀ báyẹn tún fẹ́ fi orúwo.
ẹ mọ̀ wòrán a sì ní àdídùn wa a ní tomato paste atata àti lọ
náà wà níbẹ̀. àwọn atátẹ̀ ti lọ yẹn kò bá mi yan fún àwọn èèyàn irú ata tó jẹ́.
ata rodo lélẹ̀ ó wà lọ́tọ̀.
rodo nìkan.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni rodo nìkan tomato lélẹ̀ àlòun náà sọ́tọ̀ so that a lè mọ òdiwọ̀n síra wọn. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni
epo pupa.
a ní epo pupa a ní úgú.
ẹ̀fọ́ ṣáà lè lo ẹ̀fọ́ mi àbí eléyìí ló dáa.
ẹ lè lo ẹ̀fọ́ mi bó eléyìí ló ṣì dáa jù ní òdòlẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ̀ kan ni a sì ní efinrin.
efinrin St. Leaves. ata ìwọlẹ̀ wa tún gé sí.
ata bá wà kò pọ̀ eléyìí ìta a kàn ra fi sojú rẹ̀ rẹ́gírẹ́gí.
mo wá rí i pé pọ̀nmọ́ yìí àwọn kan wẹ́ àwọn kan tóbi kí ló dé tí.
eléyìí láfisẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ rẹ̀ àwọn eléyìí ló wà nínú rẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe ń gbé spaghetti lẹ́mọ̀ gbẹ́ja lẹ́mọ̀ gbé pọ̀nmọ́.
ṣíbí kan ẹja kan pọ̀nmọ́ kan. lórí ètò fún tòní ṣẹ́rí tó jìgìjìgì ni.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kí mi yọ̀ǹda wọn ṣe mọ̀ pé mi ò ẹ má bínú màá sóúnjẹ fún yín lọ́jọ́ kan ẹ jẹ́ kí n yọ̀ǹda Starlight kan lọ sílé ìdáná tó má ti wá dé tó oúnjẹ bá ti rẹ́dì a máa pàdé lórí tábìlì jẹun Alásè lẹ ṣì ń wò Western Spring Television à ń bọ̀ wá.
spaghetti wa ti wà lórí iná tó ti ń sọ kùtù wọ̀wọ̀ ṣe ti rí báyìí á filẹ̀ fún ìṣẹ́jú díẹ̀ kó lè rọ̀ dáadáa lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kejì á mọ̀ ṣe àwọn èròjà rẹ̀ fi yí papọ̀. nínú pọ́ọ̀tì kejì yìí lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ á da epo pupa wa ni á da epo pupa sí níwọ̀nba dédé spaghetti tẹ́ ẹ ní kó má bàa lọ pọ̀ jù ẹ jẹ́ kó gbá ẹ farabalẹ̀ fún kó gbá dáadáa. ẹ yẹ̀ wò bóyá ó ti rọ̀ níwọ̀nba. Ẹ mọ̀ pé a tún yípo nú epo wa kó má bàa lọ rọ̀ jù, kó má bàa ṣe pẹ̀tẹ̀pẹ̀tẹ̀. Ó kù bí ìṣẹ́jú kan sí. Epo wa ti gbá báyìí. N tó kù ni àlùbọ́sà. Tẹ̀tìrì bá. Lẹ́yìn ìgbà tẹ́ bá da àlùbọ́sà sí tán, ginger àti onion tán ti lọ̀pọ̀ rèé. Èmi mọ́ nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí kí n fi sí láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí ní ó fún epo náà ní taste tiẹ̀. Tẹ̀tìrì bá. Lẹ́yìn ìgbà náà lẹ́wà fi irú sí níwọ̀nba. Ní báyìí tomato paste wa la máa dà sí nínú. So a fi lára balẹ̀ kí tomato paste yìí kó ṣe dáadáa mọ́ lára. Níwọ̀n ìgbà tó bá ń ṣe lọ́wọ́, ẹ rọra yín ilẹ̀ díẹ̀ tá fi yọ omi spaghetti wa. Ó ti rọ̀ ní ìwọ̀nba. A wá lọ yọ báyìí. Lẹ́yìn tá bá yọ tán, a fi omi tútù ṣàn nù kó lè bá dúró ní ẹyọ kọ̀ọ̀kan. A dà padà sínú asẹ́ kó lè ro dáadáa. Ọ̀nbọ̀n ni. Tí tomato wa ti ṣe mọ́ lára dáadáa báyìí, ìgbà náà la fi rodo tá a ti lọ̀ níwọ̀nba bí bá ṣe mọ̀ pé mọ́ ń jata sí àti quantity oúnjẹ tẹ́ bá fẹ́ sè. Tomato ni. Ẹ tún rò pọ̀ dáadáa. Ní báyìí, edé tẹ́ ẹ ti lọ̀, ètà ti lọ̀, oyin àdàmọ́. Ẹja wa á fi sí. Edé ńlá òun ò gbẹ̀yìn. Ẹ sì pẹ́lẹ́mì méje là ń sè. Pọ̀nmọ́ kíká á fi sí. Ẹja wa á fi sí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni ẹja kíká wa ò gbẹ̀yìn. Gbogbo eléyìí la rọra rò pọ̀ dáadáa. Ẹ rí pé ojú rẹ̀ ti ń sọ kutu wọ̀wọ̀. Látàárọ̀ ẹ rí pé mi tí fi iyọ̀ àbí adùn ọbẹ̀ sí torí irú gan jẹ́ adùn ọbẹ̀ lọ́tọ̀. Ní báyìí tí gbogbo ẹ ti wọnú ẹ̀, a wá rọra fi iyọ̀ díẹ̀. Ẹ má gbàgbé pa ti fi iyọ̀ sí spaghetti wa, so níwọ̀nba ni iyọ̀ tá a fi sí ata wa. Adùn ọbẹ̀ kan ṣoṣo ni mo ṣì lò ná ká sì máa wò bó bá ṣe rí. Ẹ wàá rò pọ̀ dáadáa. Ẹ máa rọra so that ẹja bẹ̀ kò ní rún. A kàn fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ja yẹn mu ta ni ká lè rọra fi sí ní ẹ̀gbẹ́. So a wá filẹ̀ kó dín nígbà díẹ̀ bí ìṣẹ́jú 2 sí 3. Ẹ ti rí ojú ọbẹ̀ wa, ẹ ti rí pé ó ti fún dáadáa. Ní báyìí látò wá da spaghetti wa sí ní díẹ̀ díẹ̀. Ẹ lò náà yẹn kó má bàa lọ máa jóná. Báyìí efinrin àti úgú díẹ̀ níwọ̀nba. Ẹ rí i pé mi ì dá sí látilẹ̀ kó má bàa lọ rọ̀ jù. Wọ́n tán sọ fún láyè sí i. Tí mi fi epo pọ̀ sí láti kó má bàa lọ ṣàn jù. Yóò. Ní báyìí ẹ ti gbé kò sápá kan tó funfun kò sápá kan tí ò gbogbo ẹ ti ṣe rẹ́gírẹ́gí àti rò pọ̀ dáadáa. Ká wá tọ̀ wò bóyá yóò dùn. Ó ti dà báyìí orí tábìlì ló kù ká lè dùn wá jẹun.
Mo kí yín ẹ káàbọ̀ padà ṣé mo pé lè dáná láti jọ kúrò lẹ́ẹ̀kan èmi ti yànda aláṣẹwà yẹn Starlight pé kí wọ́n ṣe gbogbo tán mọ̀ ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ náà àbọ̀ rẹ̀ lẹ́rẹ́ yìí o ṣó rẹwà bí ò rẹwà ẹ má jẹ́ kí n parọ́ ó rẹwà tẹ bá dẹ̀ wà nù bíbà yìí pẹ̀lú wa àwọn aroma tí mò ń gbọ́ bó ṣe ń ta sánsán bó ṣe ń sín pẹ́pẹ́ sí mi mú ó dá mi lójú pé nǹkan gidi ló máa wà ńbẹ̀ tẹ́yìn náà bá dẹ̀ wọlé ẹ rí i pé tìbílẹ̀ náà tún fi ṣe àkọ́kọ́ náà wọ́n lépo làwọn fi pèlò pásítà táwọn ṣe fún wa anyway anyhow bó bá ṣe máa jẹ́ ẹ máa mọ̀ lórí ètò báyìí àlejò wa ti wà pẹ̀lú wa lórí ètò ọlọ́wọ́ ṣíbí wa tó ń sè náà àwọn náà ti wà ń kalẹ̀ ojú àwòlàwò fi ń gbọbẹ̀ ojú ẹni tó ṣe oúnjẹ lórí ètò aláṣẹ náà ló fi máa gba máàkì ẹ̀ fúnra rẹ̀ kò sí ìrújú ń bẹ̀ àbí kò dáa ni ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò àlejò wa ọ̀gbẹ́ni Túndé Ọládìméjì ẹ bá mi kí àwọn ará ilé.
gbogbo ẹ̀yin ará ilé ẹ káàsán ẹ kú déédé àsìkò yìí orúkọ tèmi ni Ọládìméjì Túndé èmi ni olùdarí A1 Pinnacle Apartment ní ìlú Òṣogbo.
ẹ ṣé gan ni ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò tá bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa oúnjẹ ojúlẹ̀ yìí náà ẹ̀ ń ṣàlejò ẹ̀ ń ṣàjòjì nípa oúnjẹ torí pé ẹ̀yin náà tẹ ní ibùdó táwọn èèyàn máa ń forí pamọ́ sí ọ̀rọ̀ oúnjẹ kò lè ṣàjòjì sí yín àjẹ́ pé tẹ́ bá róúnjẹ gidi ẹ̀ mọ̀ tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ rí ìtì òdà náà ẹ̀ tún mọ̀ àmẹ́lẹ́ tẹ́ kọ́kọ́ ń wò lójú ó yẹ wọlé wẹnu ọkọ kí lẹ rí.
ó ṣe rẹ́gí ó jọra wọn.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń wò lójú
bí mo ṣe ń wò
ojú ẹni kó ní nǹkan tó yẹ kó fi dùn dáadáa bí ó dà kò burú kò bàjẹ́ ní báyìí èmi á wá yọ̀ǹda yín kẹ̀ṣiṣẹ́ lámì ìtọ́ torí ẹ̀ lẹ ṣe wà lórí ètò torí tèmi bá ṣe ìgbéléwọ̀n yẹn Starlight lè máa wò pé àyè aláṣẹ nítorí pé lọ́jọ́ yẹn ta wá dáná ìrẹsì tí mo fún yín kéré lẹ fi wá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ní ṣojúṣàjú ẹ̀yin náà lè máa tọ̀ wò ó yá
bíṣẹ́ ọ̀pẹ ni ẹnìkan ìpẹ́ṣẹ́ ó yá ẹ mú gbogbo èròjà tán bá yín kó sí ṣe súnmọ́ yín dáadáa mo láì gbẹ́ ṣe sọ ẹ pé kí n jẹ́ kó súnmọ́ yín kẹ́ ẹ lè fi mọ̀ ẹ wá farabalẹ̀ ẹ mú bówù yẹn ti wọ̀ láàrin bówù yẹn bẹ́gbẹ́ wọ̀ bówù yẹn mú lọ́wọ́ iwájú gbogbo àwọn èròjà tán kó sí ẹ tọ́ wò kẹ́ ẹ yẹ̀ wò bó bá ṣe rí ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ̀ ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa nílé ẹ lè máa tẹ̀lé wa ní àwọn ìtàkùn ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ gbogbo tó gbajúgbajà tẹ́ ti mọ̀ yàtọ̀ síbẹ̀ ṣé ń wò wá lórí channel 190 ní Star Times a wà nílé oúnjẹ Star Delight nílùú Òṣogbo arábìnrin Rukaya àtàwọn náà ni wọ́n ṣe oúnjẹ yìí fún wa wọ́n ní spaghetti àbí kí lẹ pè pásítà elépo ṣùgbọ́n tó wá jẹ́ ẹlẹ́mìí méje àmọ́ èmi ti bá wọn ṣírò rẹ̀ pé àtẹ̀pọ̀ tẹ bá hà di ẹ̀mọ́ ẹ̀mí méje yẹn akúkú wá di spaghetti ẹlẹ́mìí mẹ́jọ bóyá wá máa jọra wọn o bóyá kò ní jọra wọn àlejò wa ọ̀gbẹ́ni Túndé Ọládìméjì àwọn ni wọ́n wà ń bẹ̀ ṣẹ́ rí ẹni bó ṣe ń yẹrùkú lálá oúnjẹ yẹn òtútù o Ọlọ́run gbọ́ mò ń rọ́jú ní ẹ̀yìn ara lé òórùn tí mò ń gbọ́ yìí èmi gan màá fẹ́ tọwò ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́ gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ àlejò wa ẹ jẹ́ àwọn èròjà tán kó sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ bá yín bomi ẹ má bínú ó yẹ kí n ti bá yín bomi èèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ máa jẹ oúnjẹ tó gbóná tó tún láta fẹ́rẹ́ báyìí kó má wá sómi nítòsí ẹ má gbàgbé mo máa ń sọ fún yín lórí ètò Alásè àwọn nǹkan tá à ń mú wá fún yín pé kẹ́ ẹ fi máa ṣe oúnjẹ wọ̀nyí wọ́n wà láyìíká wa kò sí tí owó ẹ̀ gara tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ wò ó kí ni gbàbàrà nínú spaghetti ẹ rí i pé lànà tán gbà sí àtàwọn nǹkan tán kó sí òun ló tún jẹ́ kó wuyè tó bá jẹ́ pé oúnjẹ ẹyọkan lẹ́ni tẹ́ bá lè ṣe ní ọ̀nà bíi 8 10 ẹ̀yin gan ẹ máa gbádùn ara yín ẹ wò báyìí sìn wọ́n tún ṣe tán wọ́n tún pọ́n sí ewé èmi wàá mọ̀ di ti Star Delight kí ló dé kí ló tún béwé tẹ́ ẹ̀ fi lè bù sínú abọ́.
ẹ̀wọ̀n pé ewé náà ní àdídùn sí
pápá ewé
ìwé náà tún fi àdùn sí
yẹn ni pé tá a bá tún sóúnjẹ wa tán nu lẹ́gbà míì ká máa fi sínú ewé ràn láìpẹ́ mọ́ínmọ́ín
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
ó tún máa ládùn tó máa
bá wa fún rẹ̀.
ṣé kò ń ṣe pé bóyá torí pé ẹ pè ní ti oníbílẹ̀ ló jẹ́ kẹ́ lò ó bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
kì í ó dà àmọ́ ìgbà tó jẹ́ tó oníbílẹ̀ tẹ́ pọ̀ sí ẹ̀ ṣé ní ká máa fọwọ́ kó jẹ.
a lè fọwọ́ jẹ.
fọwọ́ jẹ náà.
a lè fọwọ́ jẹ.
nígbà tó lù oṣù aboyún oṣù mẹ́ta.
kí sùn àti ṣíbí tó àti fọ́ọ̀kì tó ní kí la fi ń jẹun.
wọn la fi ń jẹun lẹ́yìn ìbálò tẹ́ ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ sà pẹ̀lẹ́ Túndé ẹ mú mi ẹ fomi sìn dé sàlẹ̀ ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ oúnjẹ yìí ó máa lálàyé nú o torí bó ṣe ń lọ sẹ́nu ni wọ́n ń sun ló mú ni wọ́n ń sun lẹ́nu àpẹẹrẹ téèyàn bá dẹ̀ jẹ oúnjẹ gidi ni pé tẹ bá ti ráàgùn yẹn tó ti ń bọ̀ láti bí ìpàkọ́ tó ń dórí góńgó ogi mú tó ti ń kán ẹ ti mọ̀ pé oúnjẹ yẹn ó ń wo àwọn ibi tó yẹ kó wọ̀ nú ara ó dà ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ ẹ ṣe ti mú mi.
mo ti mú mi ṣé mo lè sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí.
òun náà ni ẹ lè sọ̀rọ̀ ń sìn ẹ ti mú mi.
ó débẹ̀.
ó débẹ̀ Star Delight.
ó ṣe rẹ́gí mu.
ẹ máa wẹ̀ fún wa lénìí.
yàtọ̀ sí pé
àlejò wa ni ó débẹ̀.
spaghetti
àti mọ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ a máa ń jẹ
oúnjẹ tí mo yàn láàyò ni. àròtọ̀ tí wọ́n tún gbé ìgbà yìí kódà
ó tún yàtọ̀ ẹ ṣe báyìí fẹ́tọ̀ Alásè àwa náà là tó bẹ̀ ó yá ṣe ní ìbéèrè tẹ́ fẹ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ Star Delight.
ìbéèrè tí mo fẹ́ béèrè ni pé àwọn èdè tí ó wà ń bẹ̀ ṣé dandan ni ká fi èdè tó máa wà obvious sí ni ṣé à lè.
bóyá bí èdè lílọ
bẹ̀rẹ̀ èdè lílọ wà ń bẹ̀ èdè ńlá náà sí wọn lẹ̀ nítorí pé mi fi èdè ńlá sí ni pé ó tún máa ń mú kí ó tún lẹ́wà dáadáa ẹ̀yin náà rí bó ṣe wáyé sí ẹja kíká ẹja panla ẹja ẹrísì aláràn èdè ńlá àtàwọn ẹja wẹ́wẹ́wẹ́ bí bó bá ṣe ní agbára sí mi àmọ́ báyìí orí ètò alátìláwà àti gbọdọ̀ fún ilé ètò dáadáa.
ṣeun àgbàdo rẹ.
ìyẹn náà dà bẹ́ẹ̀ ó dà máa fún yín láyè kẹ́ ẹ jẹ díẹ̀ sí kẹ́ wá bá mi ṣe ìgbéléwọ̀n torí gbogbo atótónu yín ó fura sí yín o kó má jẹ́ pé ti gbàgbẹ́ tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ Star Delight ṣùgbọ́n ó kúkú ṣojú gbogbo wa náà àrí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń jẹ́ yẹn ó fi hàn wá pé lóòótọ́ ó dùn mọ́ yín nínú ẹ mú mi sí torí mi fẹ́ ká ta pa yín lọ́fun lórí ètò mo máa ń sọ fún yín tẹ́ bá ti fẹ́ jẹun ẹ jẹ́ kó mi máa wà nítòsí ẹ̀yin tó bá dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé àwọn tibítibí ẹlẹ́rìndòdò lẹ máa ń fi tí oúnjẹ lọ sísàlẹ̀ náà ẹ jẹ́ kó máa wà nítòsí nítorí ata o ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí Ọlọ́run ẹ mú mi sí kẹ́ wá bá mi ṣe ìgbéléwọ̀n láàrin 1 gbéyàn gba 1 máàkì náà ni kí lẹ́dẹ̀ tẹ́ sọ pé ara máàkì látòrí 1 títí dé 99 ẹ ṣáà ní gba gbogbo 100 tán ẹ káàbọ̀.
ẹ ṣeun.
Oya nínú máàkì ìgbéléwọ̀n 1 sí 99 máàkì mélòó lè lè fún ẹni tó ṣe oúnjẹ? Ẹ má wojú wọn.
Rárá gbogbo nǹkan tí wọ́n fi pèlò rẹ̀ ó ṣe rẹ́gí kò sí ètò dùn jura wọn lọ ata ò pọ̀ jù
iyọ̀ ọbẹ̀ náà
iyọ̀ ò pọ̀ jù epo náà ò ṣe
kó máa ṣe ṣàlàṣùlù lára
ẹ̀ ti yẹn báyìí so torí pọ́lọ́n ló ní gbogbo ẹ̀ àwọn ò lè gba gbogbo ẹ̀ torí wọn èso ọlọ́run
kílẹ̀ yóò fún wọn.
but màá fún wọn ní 85.
75 ajẹ́kẹ́ máàkì Star Delight ó fi mélòó kan ju ti ọjọ́ òní tó fi hàn pé àwọn náà ti improve lórí ìlànà tó fi ń dáná bẹ́yìn náà dẹ̀ ṣe ń wo ètò alásè lójoojúmọ́ gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tuntun tá à ń mú wáyé ẹ̀yin náà ẹ máa fi kún àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ ń sè á lè jẹ́ kó oúnjẹ yín kó tún máa wì lẹ́nu ẹ jẹ́ kí n yọ̀ǹda yín ọ̀gbẹ́ni Túnjí Ọládìméjì ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹjọ oúnjẹ yín kẹ́ mú mi lé ẹ̀yin lẹ ní lórí ètò àwa náà máa jẹ tiwa ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi nílé ó sì ti ṣẹlẹ̀ lénìí o a ṣe spaghetti elépo ẹlẹ́mìí 8 pẹ̀lú Star Delight nílùú Òṣogbo lágbára Ọlọ́run ìgbà míì látijọ́ máa pàdé lórí ètò alásè ẹ má gbàgbé ìmọ́tótó yín ṣe pàtàkì nílé ìdáná bẹ́ẹ̀ sì rèé àwọn oúnjẹ gidi kì í ṣe pé kóúnjẹ pọ̀ gàkúà àwọn èròjà tó máa ṣara lóore yẹn oníkẹ́rí dájú pé ó wà ní gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ bá ń sè ní gbogbo ìgbà Ọlọ́run wá ní fowó gidi wọ́n wá o tá fi máa jẹ oúnjẹ tó dáa sẹ́mi wa tó Star Delight ẹ bá mi kí àwọn aráalé bó ti dìgbà míì lórí ètò.
Ẹ ṣé o ó ti gbà mí o màá tún máa rí yín ẹ ṣé gan.
Mo tẹ̀rí pé inú yín yàtọ̀ lédi nígbà tẹ́ gba 85.
improvement
gidi ni ìyẹn náà já bẹ́ẹ̀ tó lórúkọ Ọlọ́run ọba lórúkọ gbogbo àwọn ikọ̀ ètò yìí àti ẹ̀yin náà tẹ́ ti dúró ti tẹlifíṣàn yìí tẹ́ ti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lónìí lájọ́ kíra wa kó tún dìgbà míì Folúṣọ́ Olúwagbémiga ìyá ìjọ pèdèpèdè ìyá aláṣẹ yín ló ń kí yín pé ẹ máa jẹun tó dáa o máa rí yín nígbà míì kẹ́ máa fún àyè.
It's pulling now. Also, the telephone happening. You've covered because you've got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Gbadamosi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, a political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker. The nickname Kwenkele was a natively corrupted version of peculiar mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at the age of 42. Western Spring Television identifies Adegoke Adelabu as a watershed character in history.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 people.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Our comedy is winning fans globally, but we are losing our wildlife to illegal bushmeat, and this is not funny at all. If we continue this way, we'll risk losing all our animals and leaving nothing behind for the generations to come. Tell your family and friends not to buy or sell illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects us all.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a world where warmth and connection flow abundantly. Join us as we embark on a journey of healing and discovery, brought to you live from the prestigious Western Spring Television studios. Prepare to be embraced by a wave of positive energy and insightful discussions. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our community. I am Temitope Ajijola. Our Spring Clinic will delve into everything health and well-being so we can help you not only to feel better, but also bring you information that will help you reduce the risk of diseases, lengthen your lifespan, save you money, and benefits the environment. For some time now, we have been discussing basic anatomy, examining the human body organs and systems via the respiratory system, the digestive system, the circulatory system, the excretory system, the nervous system, the reproductive system. We've had the honor of our own medic, seasoned family physician with over a decade's worth of experience under his sleeve, Dr. Ayodeji Ogunbemi, taking us step-by-step through sessions on the respiratory and digestive systems. Thank you for your commitment to the health and well-being of all, Dr. Sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're expectant of all we're going to, glean from you on the broadcast. We gave our word that the circulatory system will be our next focus, and we're making good that promise today. If you do not take notes now, I will assume it is because you know that you can revisit the broadcast on Western Spring Television's YouTube channel and our other social media platforms. The circulatory system and organ. Over to you, Dr.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I must sincerely appreciate the management and the crew. I had the privilege of seeing so much that goes on.
Well, they appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Well, so I should go on.
Yes.
Okay.
Have the floor.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. The circulatory system. How should I start now? We can also call it the cardiovascular system. So circulatory means that something is going in circles, circulatory. Then cardiovascular, which is more anatomical. That is cardio, the heart. Then vascular, the vessels. So for people that are listening, to be able to understand, so when you say cardio, anything, anywhere you read it or you hear it, cardio means heart, then vascular. So I'll try within the little time, because this is an area that people will specialize in. And any specialist in cardiovascular system will be called the cardiologist. So I doff my hat to all cardiologists watching. Okay, let's go on. So the cardiovascular system or the circulatory system is a very intricate part. It apparently looks like the central part to all systems. Well, maybe I shouldn't put it like that, but without it, without any system, you won't have the whole body. But the cardiovascular system is such a unique one, intricately meshed together with other systems. So let me just break it down so that our viewers will understand very well. I've tried to divide it into 3 or 4 parts. The first part is that, let me list the components. We have the heart, we have the vessels, and the vessels could be, we have the artery and the veins, then we have the capillaries. Now it looks like this, it's just like a complete circuit. We have the heart in the middle, we have the artery taking the blood away from the heart to other parts of the body. Then we have the veins taking the blood back to the heart from other parts of the body. Then the capillaries appear to be like the intermediary between the arteries and the veins. So the heart is the pumping part. That's why when you feel the left side of your chest, you would, we call it, you palpate, you will feel the beat, your heart beat. So it's a muscular organ, it keeps pumping, and it's a very strong organ, very, very strong. So then through the arteries, we have the large arteries, the aorta, from the aorta, the big arteries, which are usually described as the elastic arteries. You would wonder why. Yeah. We call it elastic arteries because once the heart pumps blood, they must be able to receive it. And so they will expand to accommodate the blood coming from the heart, because the heart is pumping it with a whole lot of force. And then they accommodate it, they kind of reduce the tempo in which it's coming, then transmit it to smaller arteries, which are usually described as muscular arteries. Then from there, they now get to the arterioles. The arterioles are just very tiny, tiny arteries. Then from the arterioles, it gets to the capillaries. Then from the capillaries, from the artery side, then it gets to the capillaries on the venous side, that is vein side. Then it climbs up like that. Then through the inferior and superior vena cava, they enter the right side of the heart. So that's a way in which I can break it down. The second way I can break it down is to make us understand that there's an intricate meshing between the circulatory system, that is cardiovascular system, and the pulmonary system, which we discussed the last time. Because the respiratory system helps us to bring in the air, that is the oxygen. And one of the major goals of the circulatory system is to carry that oxygen gotten from the lungs, the respiratory system, to other parts of the body. Because other parts of the body need the oxygen. So how does this happen? I'm trying to break it down for you to get it. Okay, you may have to follow me stepwisely. Now, the heart, the human heart, has 2 sides. It has 4 chambers, but 2 sides. So it has 2 aortas, 2 atrium, and then 2 ventricles.
2 sides, could we say left and right?
Yes, so yes, we have the left side and we have the right side. So on the left side, okay, this is my left. On the left side, we have the left atrium, left ventricle. On the right side, we have the right atrium, the right ventricle. And you must understand, or people must know now, that the left side is the stronger side. I'll explain. The right side, the atrium, from both sides. It receives blood into the heart. So the right side will get oxygenated blood from the lungs. That is, the blood that passes through the lungs that have now gotten oxygen from the respiratory system and excreted or exchanged it for CO2. CO2 as the respiratory system has taken the carbon dioxide away and given the blood oxygen. That is the blood that leaves the lungs through the pulmonary vein, leaves the lungs and enters the left ventricle. So let me say something like a low pressure is it because the blood is just flowing into the left atrium. From the left atrium, the heart pushes the blood into the left ventricle. And then from the left ventricle, which is a very thick side, a stronger side than the right side, it forces blood, it pushes blood from that side to other parts of the body. So the force there will be stronger than the left, which is only taking blood to the lungs. You know,
and the right.
Okay, than the right. You seem to have got it. So the left side is more muscular, is thicker, is stronger than the right, because the right only receives blood. The blood the right receives is from the veins, and it's not under pressure. The veins are not really under pressure. The arteries are under pressure. The arteries are the muscular ones. So the left side has to push blood, and the blood must go round. So by the time the blood is returning, obviously the pressure is no more there. So they are just flowing as you are walking, as you are exercising. It's aiding the venous return. Then the blood just returns into the right atrium from the inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. Superior vena cava, it drains blood from the brain, from the head, and then the two arms. The inferior vena cava from the lower limbs, that is the two legs, abdomen, and all the legs. So it gets into the right atrium. From the right atrium, gets into the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, the blood getting to the right ventricle is deoxygenated. That is, the blood getting away from the left is oxygenated. Don't forget I said from the lungs. They've gotten oxygen from the lungs. So it gets to the left side. The left side pushes oxygenated blood. That's why if you look at different anatomical descriptions, they'll put it like red, like bright red. That is, oxygen is more. However, well, I'll come back to that. So by the time it's getting back to the right side, different cells, different organs have gotten the oxygen. We've gotten the oxygen. So you have deoxygenated blood getting to the right side. So the right ventricle pushes the deoxygenated back to the respiratory system, right, to the lungs, so that the CO2, which is now bringing, collected, it gave oxygen, it received CO2. The CO2 now gets to the lungs, releases the CO2 to the lungs, then we breathe it out, then collects the oxygen, and then that comes back to the left side of the heart. So we can see that it's like a husband and a wife. The cardiovascular system or the circulatory system cannot exist without the respiratory system. They are just together. So that's analysis. So we call it, we can divide this into, they say, pulmonary circulation and then systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation, that is, the circulation that goes to the lungs. If you look at it, it looks like a loop. And then there's another big loop below. So the other one that feeds the entire body is the systemic circulation. So that's another description. I think with that, I've already talked about the two sides of the heart. Then maybe I now talk about the functions of the heart. I was going to say earlier that by anatomical descriptions in many texts, you find the left side or the oxygenated side being so bright red. That's where it's painted. The artery is always painted red. Then the veins are usually painted blue. Then the layman would think the vessels and the blood, maybe the oxygenated blood will be blue and then the oxygenated blood will be red. Really, blood is always red. It's always red. However, once oxygen is taken away from the blood, it gives a bluish hue to it. So it looks a little bit darker, because during surgeries, there are ways to identify the artery from the vein. I mentioned one earlier. The arteries are almost always under pressure. Because from the left side of the heart, it's pumping seriously, you know. It's pumping with full force. So you almost always find the artery pulsating. Tum, 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 tum. You know, you almost always find the veins not pulsating. Except the vein is lying over an artery. So it will just be moving at the pace of the artery. So you can identify that. Then the coloration. Oxygenated blood is usually bright red. Deoxygenated blood is usually like dark red. If you are checking it, maybe through a fair complexion person, may appear like blue. Well, it's not blue. It's just because the color has been filtered through the complexion of the skin. Really. So it's more like dark red, bright red. You know, sometimes we ask people, if somebody says that he's pooing blood, we usually will ask, what's the color? Because the color will give us a description of where, and maybe it's an artery or a vein, and then maybe it's upper GI or lower GI. That's a big matter on its own. Then let's move on. So the artery. I've mentioned that we have different types of arteries. Then it goes on to the capillaries, from the capillaries to the veins, to the heart. So if there's any problem along this number of vessels, and I need to let you know at this point that the heart is a very fantastic muscular organ. Do you know that at rest, the heart pumps about 5 to 6 liters of blood per minute, not per hour?
5 to 6
liters.
And this is inside our body?
Yes. Per minute, not per hour. And for an athlete, it can pump up to like 30 to 35 liters per minute.
From 5 to 6, then 30 to 35.
Yeah, because the more you, now this is it. As we are seated here, I'm calm, you are relaxed. The basic metabolism going on in our body is at a lower state. If you are sleeping, it's lower. My muscles are not really moving except for my hands. So the consumption of oxygen, the demand for oxygen, it's lower. But if I'm exercising myself, the cells in my body are demanding more, because oxygen is the source of, is the main thing. You get it, is the fuel, is the gasoline, is the petrol, is what does it call it?
Of the human body.
Yes, of the human body. So the more I exercise, the more my cells start to demand oxygen. And then the heart has to supply the oxygen at the same rate. Else, this is where the issue comes in. Else, once there's no enough oxygen, the cells of the body try to get fuel from other things. Just like this is an international TV, but let's come to Nigeria. Let's come to Southwest. If there's petrol scarcity, people start to burn wood. Abi? They go to coal, which has smoke, Abi, and chokes people. Am I correct? So when you don't have enough oxygen in the body, the cells change from the oxygen. They try to look for other ways of getting energy. So they now have to go through fat metabolism and all the likes. And then that produces lactic acid. It's an acid, which causes pain in that part of the body. So when people exercise to a point, one of the reasons why they will get to that signifies their limit is that they start to feel pain in their muscles. That place is aching me. It's because the supply of oxygen to that place is not being met. So there's another means in which the muscles are now getting the energy that is now producing lactic acid. So let me not bore you with that, because
it's interesting.
It's interesting. So that's that. Now, circulatory system does not only function around oxygen. I must say that at this point. Number one, oxygen has to supply oxygen to other parts of the body, and this is important when it gets to the brain, because the brain cannot do without oxygen for more than 4 to 5 minutes. You must understand that. That's why people that have stroke, intervention must be almost as fast as possible, within minutes. if oxygen is not getting to the nerves, particularly to the brain. 4 to 5 minutes, the nerves will just start to pack up. That's one. Then two, so the brain is also intricately dependent on the cardiovascular system. Number two is our kidneys. Do you know that the kidneys receive about 20% of the cardiac output? That is, whatever amount of blood comes out from the heart, 20% goes to our kidneys. So you can start to see that the kidneys, the functions of the kidney, by the time we get to excretory system, we talk about kidney and everything, is also intricately dependent on the circulatory system. So the excretory system, in which the kidney is part of, is also dependent on the circulatory system. The nervous system, which the brain is the coordinating organ, is dependent on the cardiovascular system.
Yes, sir.
Can I progress?
Please do.
Now, when we eat, because I've talked about oxygen now, I've talked about CO2. Oxygen, circulatory system helps us to distribute the oxygen across the cells in the body, then collect CO2, carbon dioxide, from all the cells and get to the lungs. So those two appear to be prominent, but that's not the only thing that the cardiovascular system does. Cardiovascular system also helps to supply all the cells with appropriate nutrients. So that gets us to the digestive system. That's why I said the circulatory system appears to be like the central system in which other systems are dependent upon. So if you eat, the only way the food, aside the digestion, the assimilation, the absorption, it is the blood that will carry the nutrients from your GIT, that is gastrointestinal system, to other parts of the body. Because when I eat now, it goes through my stomach, intestine, out. So what is needed in the food is absorbed by the blood and then distributed across other cells. Number next, so that's third point, that is distribution of nutrients. Number next is hormones. It helps to transport hormones. Hormones are chemicals released from different parts of the body that have other functions in other parts of the body. So there's no other way for these hormones to be transported to other parts of the body except that through the circulatory system. So the organs producing the hormones will release the hormones into the circulatory system, and then the circulatory system will now transport it to the organ in which it is needed. So those are four basic functions. Number next about the functions of the cardiovascular system is that all these I've described is like in a loop, Abby, like heart, vessels, back to heart, vessel, back to heart. If there's any leakage, now I use the word leakage so that we can understand. An average human being, an average adult should have like 5 liters of blood, 5 to 5.5 liters of blood. If there's any leakage, which occurs when we're in trauma, we call it hemorrhage, that blood is now coming out. If that leakage is not stopped on time, the person dies. We all know that. Somebody is bleeding. That's why anytime, either internally or externally, that's why anytime anybody is bleeding, people shout, let's help him. Because we know that as long as the blood is coming out, the blood will not be sufficient to go round. Abi? So the blood in itself, which is a component of the circulatory system or cardiovascular system, helps in clotting. Clotting is a process where, how should I describe it? Where we seal off the leakage, where the system itself seals off leakages, because you can also seal off leakages from outside. You know, we can say compress, we can surgically stop it, we can apply things to stop it. But the way, that's why if there's a cut, you notice that after a while, you have clot formation to stop the leakages. If not, to every cut we have, that's potential death. And I need to say this to potentiate the issue of leakages, that is hemorrhage. If, you know, that maybe you need to observe that whenever somebody is bleeding After a short time, he starts to feel dizzy. He says, okay, I can't, because the blood supply to the brain is reducing, blood supply to other organs is reducing, and then the person starts to lose grasp of reality. And the person falls to the ground. And that's why we say, do you want to round up now? Or?
We'll round up. We'll just, hold it there for a while. We need to go on this very quick breather. And then when we get back, we'll continue from that part about, oxygen supply in the body getting less or when you're bleeding. This quick breather, and we'll be back.
Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1909, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Up to 75% of human infectious diseases originates in animals. And as more bushmeat is brought into our cities, the risk of human infectious disease outbreaks increases. Ebola, monkeypox, Lassa fever, yellow fever, and even COVID-19 may have been transmitted in this way. Illegal bushmeat trade not only endangers our wildlife, but affects our health and may damage our economy. So please, say no to illegal bushmeat. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
Gbadamosi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, a political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker. The nickname Benkelemens was a natively corrupted version of peculiar mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at the age of 42. Western Spring Television identifies Adegoke Adelabu as a watershed character in history.
Well, thank you very much for keeping faith with us on Spring Clinic on Western Spring Television. And today we're talking about the circulatory system, otherwise known as the cardiovascular system. Well, today I've learned a lot. I've learned that my heart has two sides, the left and the right. And before we went on that break, we were talking about the fact that when you're bleeding, you could, the body begins to, sometimes the body seals the blood from inside or from outside. That's with help though. Doctor, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
But I did the job well. The lecture.
Yes, the summary was good enough.
Thank you.
Okay, we were talking about the sealing.
Yes.
That is when there's a leakage. I'm deliberately using those terminologies for everybody to be able to get it. So, but we likely, in medical terms, we say hemorrhage. That is bleeding. The person is bleeding. So, and I mentioned before we went on break that because the circulatory system or the cardiovascular system is central to other systems, when it gets to the brain, whenever there is bleeding, there will be insufficiency in the amount of blood that goes around. So the oxygen will drop. So the brain will not be able to take it very well. So the person starts to feel dizzy, then later may lose balance, and then people say he fainted or passed out. Yes, it's correct, because the brain that seems to coordinate nervous activities will not have enough energy, source of energy, which is oxygen, to work. So it starts to shut down. So what happens? Because let me just deviate a little. When somebody has a form of bleeding, the first thing is that ultimately you must get the person to the hospital as fast as possible, because you really cannot see how bad it will be. However, on your way to the hospital, there are things to do, because we've seen quite a lot at the hospital. There are some practices that are wrong, though they have a good intent, but they are wrong. Number one is that at the site or at the scene, the person fainted, fell to the ground, or was feeling dizzy, and says, "Okay, I want to lie down." And if you ask them, they'll tell you that upon lying down, they felt better if they had not fainted outrightly. Why? Because when standing up, it requires some measure of pressure to get blood to the brain, because this is the upper part. So it's like pushing blood against gravity to get to the brain. So if the person lies down, the effect of gravity is reduced, so whatever amount of blood remains, it gets to the brain. So in fact, there are some procedures in medical practice that will tell the person to have the head down. You get it? That is to allow blood to get to the
lower
brain.
Part of your body more elevated.
Yes, elevated, because those are the limbs. And other parts, every part is important, but when it gets to the brain, cannot tolerate not having oxygen for like 5 minutes. The limbs can tolerate up to an hour. You get it? So don't try to lift up the head of the person. People do it. Okay, he has fainted. They now ask the person to sit down. They are opening the mouth. They are doing no. They are causing more damage. Just allow the person to lie on the left side. We mentioned it at one time, some time ago, on the left side, so that the blood, the little blood that is there can get to the brain. That's one. Number two is that people do a lot about tying. Maybe the hand is bleeding, or the arm, or the lower limb. Maybe people tie it. Tie it with clothes. Tie it with whatever, with belts. Yes, it's not bad in itself, but the moment you tie, you must start to count. You must have to time it, because there's a maximum number of minutes in which, if blood does not get to a part, particularly the upper limb and lower limb, that place is dead. So sometimes people have good intent but bad practice. So the person gets to the hospital and is like, "When did you tie this?" By the time they mention the time, tell them, "You can't untie it. We have to amputate the limb." Because, okay, that's another big thing on its own. Okay, hope I've not changed your mood. I'm sorry.
There was this time, before you continue, Doctor, there was this time, I was stung rather by scorpion. I tied it. Yes. Was that wrong? Because the doctor's reaction was...
Yes. Now, let me keep this in. When it concerns health, I think the deeper training is for the doctors. Everybody should be interested in some basic knowledge about, in fact, even CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Everyone should be able to do a CPR, an effective CPR, not just CPR, and effective CPR. It's not that a doctor or a nurse or paramedic are the ones that should do it, because I see cases and people are like, doctor, like, what are you looking at? This person is dying. A husband should be able to do CPR on the wife. The wife should be able to do CPR on the husband. The husband should be able, the father should be able to do it on the child. We are going to get to cardiac arrest and things like that. You know, because so when it comes to matters like this, people should know. This should be common knowledge that you don't know. Now, if it's a scorpion bite, the native intelligence that people have is that you don't want the venom to move up.
Yes.
Is that not? To get to the heart or to circulate. So, well, in some instances,